Now it's gone.
And
You were thinking about me?
it was when I got my boner this morning, actually.
That's when you were thinking about me?
Well, we had a conversation earlier, and when it happened,
Oh, because we've been talking about boners a lot lately.
yes. So, and it was raging this morning,
Okay.
and I took care of it. But that's not the point.
Okay.
I was thinking about you,
Okay.
and because the other day you texted me and you were like, it was at night or was it in the morning when you text me?
I texted you at night, but you probably opened it in the morning.
Because I opened it and you were like, yeah, I'm not ready. And then you sent me another one and you were like, nah, we're good. So.
Oh, that was in the morning. Yeah. I thought you were talking about a different text.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So,
All right.
little lesson with these. They're very directional. Yeah. They're very directional. So, look when I do this. Not that, well, kind of, but like this. And then I talk like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So your best sound is pointed right at your mouth hole. Kind of like that. Don't put your mouth on it,
Oh,
though.
I was gonna do something funny.
And then this I can turn you up if I need.
I don't think so. I can hear myself fine.
Usually...
Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you.
Good.
And we got... Nice. It's all set up.
Lick it like a lollipop.
Don't lick it. I can barely hear you like that.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah, the echo's going to be a little bad, but I don't know what else to do about
it's
that.
not bad echo.
It's not...
I can't hear bad echo.
I guess the people from afar
Okay.
is going to echo in
Yeah,
because we have kind of like a chamber right here. I like the booth, though, with the table.
We can sit right there.
It's already rolling. We're
going.
doing it live.
All right. Oh, God.
So my dad's trying to do a camping trip in a week, and I was like, I don't think I can make it just with work and getting stuff off, and I'd probably come down a day late and not have enough nights, and it wouldn't be worth it for drive time and everything like that. Plus, I like life right now. I don't want to get away from things. And I, much shorter version, texted him that, and he just texted me back 2 words. He said, "Try harder."
Damn.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Try harder. Okay.
I said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make the trip. And he goes, try harder. I was like, okay.
Okay. That's I don't even know what to say.
Right?
Try harder.
Try harder. I was like, fuck. You don't have to comment on that. I just saw the text again.
What to say? They're like, try harder. Like, okay.
I guess people weren't clear on this, but I'm going to post this online.
Oh, you're
So if
posting this one?
Yeah, this goes online.
Oh, so the whole penis part at the beginning?
That's going online.
All right.
I saved one because we talked about a friend in the actual first one, I guess. That
you
shouldn't.
had a first one without me?
Yeah, there has to be a first. So, we left that one out, but I did do one a couple days ago.
Oh.
This is number 3 technically,
Okay.
but this is gonna be the second posted
Oh, okay.
because that first one, I didn't think it was that bad. We talked about dildos, but a certain friend's dildo, but yeah. So this will go online. If there's anything you don't want to say, don't say it.
Okay. Well,
But-
I'd like the title to be Big Dick Energy.
Usually it's just
Trademark.
going to be your name. TM. Wish you could. Trademark Big Dick Energy.
Yes. Probably can't do that, but
So you're not president. What position did you get?
I'm VP
Vice
of
president.
Family and Alumni.
Okay.
So
So is
There's-
there a president of
there's-
family and alumni?
no, so there's president of the fraternity that we're in,
And then a bunch of VPs?
and then there's VP chairs. I think there's 8 other VP chairs.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
So I'm VP chair of Family and Alumni,
Nice.
which was really fun because we did a whole chapter last week. We just like stood up, gave our speeches, and then they asked us, like the whole fraternity asked us questions of like why should we pick you, or like specific questions of like what are you gonna do specifically in your role for like to make us vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fun. So
Nice. Do you have a plan for your first like event? Because you get to plan stuff, right?
mm-hmm. So
do you have an idea?
mine is gonna be family weekend, and I'm honestly gonna go like all out for that because that's honestly the only like event that I can plan. I help set up like other events in like helping other VP chairs for like socials and stuff, but the only thing that I really do there is just like get the alumni, like some people who've already graduated from the fraternity, and I'm just like, hey, we're doing this event, like you guys should come. And then I also send out things to the family that are like, we're doing these events, this is how it's gonna go. I can't really invite them to other things other than like family weekend, but I just like let them know like, hey, this is what the fraternity's up to. Pretty much just letting you know like, here's what your children are doing.
So you get like one shot.
Yeah, for me planning things, it's just family weekend. That's just me specifically.
Is that once a semester?
I can only do it one time a semester, but I think I can do it for both semesters during the year. So, but usually we just do it during family weekend of like the actual college. So
nice. You're such a fraternity bro.
I mean,
like I feel like you fit in pretty well.
That's what a lot of people have told me. And I'm always like, when I actually came here, I was like, I had no intentions whatsoever to join a fraternity.
Your first semester you did it?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Even when I was in Wyoming, I was like, I didn't have intentions to like join a fraternity. But I came down here, and since I didn't really know anybody down here, I was just like, I mean, the events are fun. Like you get to go bowling or like car smashes. I went to a few car smashes. That's super fun. But yeah, it was like free events that you get to go meet people at, plus free food. And I was like, it's crazy not to go to those.
Yeah.
But then in this one and then ATO, I really like some of the guys, and I was like, I mean, I might as well like actually rush to see if I like get in or get a bid. And then I did, so I was like, screw it, I might as well join.
Yeah. Doesn't the financial piece kind of get in the way though?
Financial, not too bad. Usually with most fraternities, you have to pay like the one-time insurance fee, which is pretty big. Ours was $500.
Do you get that back though?
Yeah, that's
like a deposit.
Yeah. But that's only one time, like right when you join, and then after that, dues you have to pay, which aren't that bad.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's really fun. I think everybody, like, if they really want to, should join one, because you just get, it's a big set of community, honestly. Like, it's just a second family that you have with a bunch of your brothers, so.
And it's kind of like forced as well, right? In a sense. Like, not like, forced, but I guess
no,
like...
but like, in like what way?
You didn't really choose... Like, you get to choose the fraternity, but the brothers that get in, you don't really get to choose, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you could curate your friend group, I guess is what I'm getting at, but you kind of get... You're stuck with this group, in a sense. For better or for worse, right?
Yeah, kind of. Like, in the pledge process, I assume, like, when you're actually, like, doing the rush, you don't get to choose who's, like, in your rush class or in your pledge class, because there's limited spots. So, like, if you have a bunch of people rush, you can't let everybody in. So that's mostly on the active members. They're like, all right, who do we really like? Who do we think would be, like, good in our organization? Yeah. So I guess you don't really get a pick in that sense. But once you're in, I mean, you just get to know, like, everybody so much better. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter of the picking in that sense. Because everybody that's already in, you're going to, like, know them front and back. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you get close to the mic. You're holding it a little far.
Oh, can you hear me fine?
It's like there, but it would be
Okay.
stronger closer.
How's this?
That's like ASMR close.
Or Markiplier. Have you seen Markiplier?
I know the name.
He drinks a lot of milk.
Oh.
I like him.
I wonder how it feels to like that be your first descriptor of like a person.
Then he drinks a lot of milk.
Like that's your first, like Mike Tyson, he boxes a lot. Markiplier.
He drinks a lot of milk.
Drinks a lot of milk.
I mean, honestly, since I came down here, I learned that is like something weird apparently.
Milk?
Because yes, drinking milk. Because my family, when I was growing up, we always drink milk for breakfast, lunch, dinner when we're at home. And I got down here at the dining halls, and they have like the little milk dispensers and everything that you can go get milk at. And I just like during breakfast, I usually don't eat with a lot of people because it's in between classes and stuff, and I just go there quick. But for lunch and dinner, like when I get together with people in the fraternity or just other people that I know down here, they're like, I get a glass of milk for lunch or dinner, and they're just like looking at me like,
what the hell are you
just
doing?
drink milk? And I was like, yes, like, do you not? And they're like, no, like you either drink like soda or water or juice or something. I was like, you never just have a glass of milk? And they're like, I mean, like rarely, like maybe with like cookies or something. But I'm like, no, I drink milk with like every meal. And everybody's like, you're a fucking weirdo. So
I think what I've learned is that there's not a lot of people that can handle milk, like stomach wise. A lot of people have intolerances, I've learned.
I've met, well, some of the people that have said that to me have intolerances, but others are like, I just don't really drink milk very much. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned that was super weird, I guess, that I drink milk. So
Logan drinks a lot of milk.
Oh, I know Logan drinks a lot of
How
milk.
do you know? Like, no.
We have conversations, Bosh.
He talks about his milk drinking?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I just know that because one basketball trip that we had, I can't remember how it got brought up, but yeah.
He drinks a lot of milk. He's a lot of...
I can't remember, because I think I said that I drink a lot of milk. I think I said milk is my water, because that's honestly kind of true for me. Like, I drink a lot of milk. And then I think after I said that, he chipped in on, like, a bus ride or something. Like, I don't remember, like, exactly, but...
What was I going to say? Fuck. Something about milk.
It's very good for you.
Oh,
well,
I wonder
it's
what...
good and bad.
Like, isn't, like, most store-bought milk, like... It's kind of watered down, a lot of them? Like, isn't it...
Depending on what kind of brand you get, and then what percentage you get, because some brands are, like, skimpy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I guess it really, like, mostly depends on what, like, type you get.
Yeah.
Because most people usually get, like, skim milk or something.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get skim milk, they just get, like, something different, like almond milk or something like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
not, like, lactose.
Well, isn't, like, the 2% on 2% milk, like, it's 2% milk in the drink?
It's 2% fat content in your milk.
Oh, that's what that means? Oh.
And then whole milk is, I think, 4 or 5%, I believe.
It's 5% fat for
It's the fat content.
everything
of
else.
milk. So like, if you tried, like back in the old days, how they actually made butters, like you milk a cow
Mm-hmm.
and then you churn it for a long time, and then the fat contents like start to stick together, and you actually have butter.
Oh.
It's kind of like that when they make milk, but they can increase or decrease the amount of fat percentage that they put in it. So like whole milk, it's like a lot thicker. And then, have you ever had skim milk before?
Yeah.
It's like
It's like
kind of
water.
watery.
It's like water
because there's
almost.
not a lot of fat content in it.
It feels like water with white food coloring in it.
Yeah,
It really does.
That's pretty much.
I wonder
what it is.
what real milk, like straight from the teat. Like it's
That-
warm, coming
I
out
don't-
hot.
I don't know exactly what it is, but it's probably more than 4%.
Probably.
But I don't.
Probably more than the whole milk.
I don't
right?
know for probably, but
I really want to try it.
I don't know. I've heard good and bad things from milk. Honestly,
Mm.
that it's good for you because it's got a lot of calcium. It's a
Mhm.
good source of calcium, but as in like the standpoint of other like vitamins and minerals, it's got a lot of estrogen in it,
Mm.
and depending on what kind of milk you get. Like whole milk, I think, and 2% are the worst ones because it doesn't have like a lot of estrogen, but like for me, like I drink milk like almost every day. It probably doesn't help that there's a lot of estrogen in there because then that affects your body differently.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know the like exact research
Yeah.
and stuff on that.
I think the big thing for everything is that intolerance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I was reading some things on it that it has to do with.
Yeah, that's really.
It's so loud. It's a paper bag.
Really?
That's all it is.
Oh my god! I thought it was like metal or
No,
something.
like somebody dropped a chair. But with a gut microbiome, a lot of people lay it on that.
Mhm.
That which is weird because you get breast milk, but I think the bacteria content must be different than normal cow's milk.
Well,
Would be my guess.
it's a lot different us opposed
Yeah.
to like cows or like
Yeah.
goats or something like that because women's mammary glands are a lot like more complex and specific is what I've learned.
Okay.
I'll learn more about it in my BMS class that I'm taking now, but I have heard that ours are a lot like more specific and it's a lot more complex as opposed
What's
to
specified about it?
it's I think in the secretion of the milk from those mammary glands is just different because we don't produce nearly as much as cows and goats and all that stuff.
True.
And I can't remember, but I think it's some of like the content that's in the milk that is there and isn't there because of like the secretion process, but I haven't learned like in depth of like what that is or
Okay.
like how that happens, but I've just heard that it's a lot, like it's really complex, I think.
Okay.
But I have like no research or like
Were you getting this
anything
from
on
class
that.
though?
From my teachers.
From your
yeah.
teachers? Yeah. I am always surprised I don't see breast milk in the stores.
Yes and no.
I can see how it'd be hard, like logistically,
Yes.
but like I feel like at this point in time we just have so much wacky stuff already out there that we could just have that as well as an option.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if this is right, like at all, but
Okay.
I think because I haven't heard this anywhere, but my 2 cents of it is because like it's so specific from humans that it's like just meant for babies.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
That,
I don't
like-
think that it's beneficial for us because babies are like growing, developing still, and they need more nutrients to like support all that growing and development.
Yeah.
And then us now, like we're not really growing all that much anymore. Like there's not that much development going on still. I don't think that milk from humans is
Oh.
that beneficial to us.
So
Is what I think of.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's right by any means, but that could be a reason why.
maybe it's more beneficial for infants more than the adult, but it's still got to have a lot of
I was
nutrients.
gonna say
in
you're
it,
still gonna get a lot of nutrients
you know,
and stuff out of it.
and it probably can depend on the diet of the woman as well that it
Mhm.
comes from, which would be interesting because you could have like different flavors almost. If
Yeah.
you had like somebody on a like almost a fast food diet compared to a, I don't know, like all meat diet would be definitely different than a just vegetable breast milk diet.
Yeah.
That milk must be bad.
I don't
Like
know.
a vegan's breast milk, dude. I can't imagine that'd be that good.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Like compared to other breast milk.
Yeah.
Like we could have tastings in
We
venues.
need to have tastings.
We could have tastings.
Set up just a teat and like
Oh,
in a
you want to
wall.
directly.
like, cut out a circle in a wall and just heat just whole titty.
Oh,
in
you
the
want to
wall and
directly
just-
suckle.
Yeah, well, you got to get the whole experience.
We don't directly suck off of grapes
What?
like for wine tasting.
Well,
We let
yeah,
that shit age.
But that's wine. You don't let milk age, or it'll go bad.
What if you did though?
It's-
We could have titty milk yogurt.
No, that doesn't. No, when it goes bad, it gets sour.
Oh. How do they turn?
Have you never had expired milk before?
Yeah, I have.
I was gonna say
It gets chunky.
at the school, like you know how it, like slimes like out of those cartons.
But doesn't yogurt come from milk? And
Yes, but that's different. Like the way they make it.
Yeah.
Because like cottage cheese, like it's kerneled, like
yeah,
basically just kerneled milk.
Yeah.
They make it differently.
Exactly.
They put more like not preservatives, but different.
Bacteria.
Yes.
Is cottage cheese a fermented
yogurt,
food?
Yes. I don't.
Yogurt's got to be.
I don't. Yogurt, yes.
If they're putting bacteria in it, then it's got to be
yogurt,
fermented.
yes, but I don't know about cottage cheese honestly because I haven't. I
haven't looked into that.
I don't
That's
really
so-
know like the nutritional benefits of cottage cheese either. Like I just because I don't like it personally.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just kerneled milk and I don't like the texture of it and I'm just like no.
Some salt and pepper on it. I like a savory cottage cheese. Some people put fruit in it, and I've never understood that.
That's what my parents used to do. They either do salt and pepper or we'll have it like with fruit and
I
it's
don't
just like
understand the fruit.
like I just eat the fruit and I never ate cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And my parents are like usually probably till this day like if I went home and I told them like I don't like cottage cheese they're like really? But that's kind of how my parents are.
Like I'm genuinely surprised we don't have. I guess it's like hard logistically because you would only be able to get milk from women that are having kids,
Mhm.
and that's
Because-
already hard to get milk together usually for a
Exactly.
lot of women. So I guess logistically maybe it's really tough.
And then even when like that's happening, how are you gonna go in and like get that? Like you can't just like show up with a fucking.
I think it would start
Breast
in
pump and
farmers
just, like-
markets. I wonder.
'Cause
I wonder
don't-
if you could like, whatever the mechanical response in the body is for a woman to start producing milk when they know an infant is in the area, however that systematically works. I bet you could
I think
stimulate that,
That's
right?
a lot of hormones.
Yeah.
Because once you start like the fetal development, you've got a lot more hormones going
Yeah.
on in your body.
So couldn't you stimulate that by some sort of hormone induction?
Possibly, but I don't know. Because that
I'm
I
usually
would say it's going to be pretty like not specific, but
Yeah.
like overall it's going to affect your body differently because you're growing like human life and like I don't know exactly the process, but I would assume that most of the hormones going around your body are going to be telling your body's cells and
Mhm.
everything going on like, hey, now we're not just supporting ourselves, but we're supporting a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that would affect the body negatively if you aren't pregnant.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm not usually one for any sort of pharmacology being introduced for people. So it's funny that I'm trying to advocate this just so I can drink some breast milk. But
I mean,
it's going to happen at some point, I bet.
I bet it.
I bet that's going to be a market at some point.
would
I don't know if
assume-
it's in our lives, but
I-
like door-to-door breast milk salesman, that's going to be a thing.
probably.
This is my theory. Ready for this? We're kind of seeing this trend right now of like a lot of loss of traditional values in relationships. Like a
Okay.
lot of women are taking up masculine roles and some men are taking up more feminine roles. For
Right.
better or for worse, no judgment there right now.
Yes.
Um,
Just as like you're seeing it.
yeah, yeah. Have that play out for a couple of decades, and there's always, once one thing gets popular, a counterculture. And so I bet you in a few decades, give it 30 years, 40 years, however long it takes, we'll have a counterculture of traditional men and women, right? And because it'll be a counterculture of females taking up traditional female values at a time where we would hopefully have still really good economic prosperity. I'm getting out on a huge limb for
I was
this.
going to say, where are you going with this?
They're going to be at home a lot, and there's going to be hopefully a lot of strong households with these things where a lot of these women will have a lot of time on their hands, and so they'll just start a breast milk business. That's what I'm getting at.
I think you're going out on a strong
It's a big stretch.
leap.
It's a big stretch.
But maybe. I mean, I can't tell you that you're wrong because it might, but I mean,
it's very...
I was going to say, I could definitely see the counterculture but like that specific thing coming from that is
Well, there's an interesting video I watched, and it was like this woman, because it's like a big question. I think we have a lot of people are asking right now that are really smart. Is like, okay, yes, what if we stick to our old traditional ways where the man is just working 9 to 5 usually on average, you know, and making most of the money, and then at some point the woman's going to just be at home mostly to be with the kids, you know. And there's this specific woman that she had like 8 kids. She had 8 kids, and during that started her own newsletter, and it's like a very popular newsletter right now.
like from home.
From home, like in between, like during naps is when her, like naps and nighttime was like a lot of her writing time. And she did that with 8 kids.
And like, is it just about like random stuff that
No,
she's like seeing, or
it's
like...
a lot of political issues she deals with, but not even like the newspaper part, but just like she had time to do 8 kids and then also build this newsletter. And so like if we, and that like is really interesting to me, because in that extreme circumstance, to me, she was still able to be a career woman but still fulfill the role of the traditional mother, you know? And so I think that would be very hopeful for a lot of women, that, because I've met a few that are like, I want to be traditional, but I'm kind of like ashamed to, because I feel like I don't have ambition.
Right.
Like some of these other career women, you know?
Which I don't like. Me personally, I don't like that, because I've heard the same thing. Like, I don't like... I would be like stay-at-home traditional like mother, because like if you have a husband or wife that goes out and supports, like you have enough income to support your family with all your needs and everything, and it's like if you don't need to work, I've heard that like I would do that, but then just because of the movements and stuff that we've been happening and all like the big women empowerment, which I love, but it's just like I feel like it's setting another like standard of what women should be doing instead of what they want to do. Yeah. Like body image is what I'm going to relate this to, is like there's a body image for like, oh, this is what women should look like, and if you're not, then you're doing it wrong. I feel like we're setting a new body image in quotations for women for working, because it's like if you're not going out and being your own person and like supporting your family, and you're staying home with the kids or doing whatever like that, then you're not fulfilling that role of being
you're not living up to your potential.
Exactly.
If you're not chasing a career as a woman.
And I feel like it's good and bad. I feel like it's more bad because it's like you should do what you want to do, not because of people telling you that you should do
what you should do. Yeah, that's never a good thing when you don't follow your own course.
I was going to say, I feel like in this case, it's for a good thing, because like you're going out, you're supporting yourself or your family, and like that's a good thing. But like if that's not what you want to do, and you have that opportunity that you're in a relationship with somebody, and you're having a family, and the other person in your relationship is actually doing that, and you're like, okay, I want my goals and needs to be centered on family, staying home, taking care of the kids, getting all that stuff done. Like if that's what you want to do, then by all means do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a big question we're asking right now, and just in general, is like how much of these traditional ways do we need to keep to maintain a good order within things in society, you know, and how much of that tradition was more, I don't know if it was forced or if it was actually not helpful, and just so many people bandwagoned with it that it stuck, but it had no reason to stick because there was no value to it, you know? I think we're in a big time right now where it's trying to figure out that question of like, what of these traditional ways should we keep, and then what do we let go of, and then how does that affect us now, because the landscape in general is much different than 100 years ago or 200 years ago.
Right.
It's like really commonly referred to as like the sexual marketplace, you know?
Okay.
It's much different than it was pre-cell phone is a big change in it, you know, but then also pre-birth control and then also like pre-society as well.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of different almost sexual revolutions that have happened that have primarily liberated women, you know,
Right.
like with the birth control, but then also I think like society as a whole, because it's a lot safer these days. You know, it's not 100%, but much safer than it was in the past, you know? So those things together have led to, for better or for worse, a much easier time to pursue a career. But then that just leaves us with more questions of like, where the proper balance is in that, you know, and no judgment on like any of it. It's just really just trying to answer these questions, you know. You know, I think of them as neutral questions, like how much career should a woman have, how much time should a man be in the house,
Right.
stuff like that.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are trying to, if you're smart, I feel like you're trying to answer that right now, especially if you're thinking about a family.
Okay.
Because it's different these days.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be different for everybody as well. I mean, there can't...
But there will be trends.
I was going to say, there's definitely going to be trends which will help set that out, but I feel like there's still going to be that big overarching, like, not everybody's the same. It's going to vary, but I feel like the overarching majority of people will probably fit into that category of being like, here's the amount of time that this should happen and yada yada yada.
Like more people will fit into that traditional role. Is that what you're saying?
Probably,
That's what my intuition is.
but I don't
Yeah.
know. But I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume so as well. And why I would think that is like the biological history behind us. Like we're not, us and women are not wired the same way, you know, and we also don't have the same organs
Right.
as well, you know, and the same hormone patterns and all that sort of stuff. So it's never going to be total equality, you know.
Right.
We would want equality of opportunity, but there's this tricky thing where all people are different to a certain extent, but then like if you picture a bell curve, you know, a lot of people fall under that center line, and there's nothing really crazy about that. But then men and women differ on different things, so the bell curves are offset a little bit.
You're still gonna have
and you
that
see
variation.
that we're all similar, but then you see like the big changes at the ends of it, you know, like men are more disagreeable on average. And so even if you have, I don't know exactly what it is, but 80 to 90% of the bell curves of men and women overlapping on that disagreeableness, you still just need like a 5% of that male population to be high in disagreeableness to therefore make up most of the people that wind up in prison because they break rules. So you can still have a huge outcome with two distributions that are very similar, you know. All you need is that even 1%, you know, 1% of all the men would fill many jails, you know, and they would have the temperament to commit crimes that we would have to put them in jail, you know. So things like that where, yeah, we're very similar up to 90% on a lot of things, but that 5 to 10% variability is where you see, I don't know, the real reality manifest, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Talking point that I want to bring up.
Okay.
When you were talking about birth control, have you seen any of the new stuff about this new male birth control that's coming out?
The hot bath or the pill?
The pill.
I'm curious about the hot bath.
I'm also curious about that. Because according to the science, it should work, but I feel like something that simple isn't going to be that effective.
I'm picturing like some feminists in relationships are making their significant other just take the shower head and right to the balls on the hottest setting,
like,
and she's just screaming at him to hold it on there, and he's shaking the whole time, just spraying his balls with this hot ass water right before, just because she doesn't want to have the hormones injected into her.
which is what I mean. Like, something like that simple, I feel like is going to have a lot of error in it, because
That one, yeah.
I mean,
Especially when you're trying to get it on, you know? You're like, it says 10 minutes, but what is 8 minutes?
what is 8?
And if it's
Really?
8 minutes, what is
I
5
was gonna
minutes?
say it, then that means 5 minutes.
Babe, I dipped my balls in it. We're good.
Yeah,
We're
I
good.
dipped it in.
I dipped it.
It was hot, so we're good. We should be fine. Send off some of my ball hairs, so I think we're good. It was hot. We're fine.
We're fine. Let's go. Take your clothes off.
But the pill. What are your thoughts?
I've heard about it. My first thought is I'm worried about side effects,
Right.
but then I remember that women get side effects with their stuff.
Yes.
And so then I guess it evens out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I wouldn't take it personally
okay.
unless there was 0 side effects. I would just continue to use a condom.
Okay.
That's what I would do. There's no side effects with a condom, and it works for the most part as long as it doesn't break. It's not as fun, but I'm pretty big against like the unintended side effects of pharmacology.
Okay.
I have a big like don't want to touch that, you know. So if there's 0 and it's proven through some rigid statistical analysis, sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
that's my thought.
with that being said, if you're in a relationship, would you make your partner take the pill for her, as opposed of like, I don't want to have kids yet, and I don't want to use a condom?
It's a good question.
Are you still gonna? Like,
Well, she
put that
can't tell me I
responsi-
can't use a condom.
I mean,
so I'm going to use a condom, and if
but-
she doesn't want to take the pill, then I'm going to have to
But
use a
then
condom.
you're technically putting that responsibility on her of saying like, hey, I don't want to use a condom, and I still want to have fun.
Do they have
So
women
I
condoms?
think it's yes.
I
But
wonder how those work.
it's like a bigger condom that goes
Yeah.
in. Have you not seen them before?
I've not. I bet it's like a little coin purse you just put in there.
I was gonna say it's basically like just a bigger condom.
Yeah.
That just fits inside, and then you're basically
Yeah.
just.
I would play that chess move. It's still fair.
I mean,
I'm not going to make her
yes,
take anything.
But then you saying I don't want to put a condom on, and then say, oh, let's use a female condom. Is basically the same thing.
No, if she tells me I can't use a condom, I'm going to say you have to use a condom. Somebody's going to have to. Here's one other
But
thing.
so, what I'm asking is,
Mm-hmm.
if she doesn't want to take birth control,
Okay. That's fine.
and you both want to have sex, but you don't want to use a condom, are you going to put that responsibility on her?
And
of
I don't
saying-
want to use a condom?
Yes. Because
If that's the
then-
situation, I will have to suck it up and use a condom.
Okay.
Because
you're not-
Because you don't want to risk it. You know?
Right. So what my question was, like, do you want to put that responsibility on her still of saying like, hey, I want to have sex, I don't want to use a condom.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you don't want to get pregnant, so either you take the pill
I see
or
what
not.
you're saying. No. 'Cause that's like, I'm trying to think of an analogy. That doesn't work what I thought. But
Because that's basically how it happens
no,
now.
it's like that's like taking off the brakes in your car because you don't want to pay for them to get repaired, and blaming other people for not having better brakes. You know, it's like, no, you need to put brakes on your car because you're using that as a tool. If I'm using my tool on you, I should be wrapping it up.
I mean, yes.
Does that
but
make
I
sense?
feel like the overarching majority is like it's expected for women to take birth control.
Yeah. And that's because since the 1960s we've been doing
Yeah.
that. So it's just kind of culturally embedded. But if my woman came up to me and was like, hey, you can get a pill too, I'm not taking mine anymore, it fucks with me, I'm like, totally fair. I'm not taking the pill either, though. I'm going to wear a condom.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. I think, like, it's a little bit of a chess move because I've heard that it's as uncomfortable, not as, but women don't like condoms as much as men do for the most part. Like, they don't feel it as well. So, like, maybe after a session or two, she gets tired of it and then goes, like, I'm going to wrap it until it's safe. I will.
Right.
But I feel like it's a little bit of a chess move where you're just like, she's like, this is uncomfortable. I've heard from some girls, too, that they like being on it because it levels out their hormones. On certain ones, I think. And it depends on the person.
I was going to say, I feel like yes and no, because I don't know how most of this works, but apparently you have to find the birth control that's right for you because there's different kinds.
That makes
sense. They affect you differently.
Yeah.
And basically you just got to figure out which one doesn't fuck you up the most.
Yeah.
Which is really shitty.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have heard, because it is good, because when it balances out your hormones, it makes you feel better, but then it still shits on you.
Well, it's shitty that you have to figure out the right brand.
Yes.
But then once you get to the right one, I think I've heard personally from some girls that they like being on it because it helps level things out. So after that, testing around, trying different flavors, you finally find one that actually hits your taste buds right, and then things are all groovy from there. So, I mean, like, it's a dual-edged sword. You could not do it the whole time and have all your partners wear condoms at the same time, It's not like we're forcing them. It is, like, a little bit embedded in the culture. You're right. But, like...
But that's just how it's evolved.
It's involved, yeah. Because we only had it for them for a while, other than the normal condom, So, yeah, that'll be interesting once that's mainstream, how that'll play out.
I honestly don't know how it's going to play out because I feel like there are people out there that are like, yes, I'll take it. Like, I don't want to, like, I won't put the burden on my girlfriend or whatever and make her take it. I'll take it, and we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be people out there that say, I don't want to take it because of the side effects, like you said. So I can see where they're coming from, too.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And back to your original question, if there was a version that was proven to be fully safe and it made me infertile, but that was reversible, just being off it, stuff like that, it was completely safe and did exactly what it was intended to do. We very rarely see that with any drug intervention, so it's hard to think of that. But if that was the case, yeah, I'll take it because then it's a lot easier and it's a lot more pleasurable as well. But if there's even a 1% of downside, I'm probably not going to take it,
Which is, I feel like that's...
And if I exercise my right to not want to take it, I want to expect anybody else to have to take it as well. That's simple, you know?
Because I feel like the whole standard now of women, like, it's almost expected of them to be taking birth control, which is fucked up in the first place, because if you don't want to take it, don't take it. But I feel like there's so much that goes into it to make it right and to make it work how it's supposed to. Because you got to take it on the hour within 30 minutes, I believe, every day to make sure that the chemicals or the hormones in it affect your body at the right time to make sure that you don't ovulate and so you don't have a kid. And it's like, that'll probably be different for men because... First, we don't do that. The only thing that we do, we just have semen, we store it. And then...
I think even I would pursue this ball bath, honestly. You could still, if it's like, again, there's no side effects of steaming your balls, which there could be. I don't know.
Second-degree burns, maybe.
That would suck. That would, big bum sauce there.
Yeah.
But again, if there was not much to that, I'd probably prefer that because it'd be a lot easier
than taking a pill.
Yeah. Except I'd have to see details on it, but if it was like...
But if you had, like, evidence, like, hey, this works.
I would go with that because then...
Oh, well, yeah. Cause
there's no pharmacology and it's less invasive.
I was going to say, I feel like that's... I mean...
I wonder if they're...
Dude, depending on how, like, when it affects you, I feel like I would choose differently. Because if they were both 100%, like, yes, no side effects, blah, blah, blah. When do you have to do the ball bath? Like, do you do it
You have to do it
right
10 minutes before
you're
right.
doing it? Or can I, like, do it in the morning and then have that carry
During?
out? Yeah. God.
Think about like one
It's
of
been
those
5 minute, babe.
those feed pouches
grab the bath.
for your balls. You have to plug it in too.
Get some hot hands on this bitch.
Since we're making a prediction.
I'm sorry.
Or even like an ointment that you would rub on your balls
And
and
it
makes
just like goes in like lotion, just kind of absorbs
that
into
dude,
your
I could
nutsack
picture
and
so
then
many different things.
transferring into your balls and just makes the semen just inactive.
They have spermicide lubricant too. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Well, that's not as effective as
It's not as
condoms.
effective. It would help though.
It would help.
Yeah.
Well, each form of protection that you use just increases your chances of it not happening.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the pill plus condom, I mean, the chances are
Pretty low.
so close to zero.
Yeah.
But just sometimes it still happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I could imagine a counterculture, like if this bath thing doesn't work out for decades, and then we get this pill, and then dudes are expected to use the pill, and then right as like it's reaching its apex, we get the ball bath, and that would be so much easier, especially if it was nice.
Right.
And then we make the women equivalent of some sort of like rod
Stop.
that you stick up there. Well, and it just steams it. So, or
steams it.
I
Bosh.
don't know. Dude, we're
What?
steaming our balls. They could steam their cooters.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's different because ours, I don't know how it works. Like, do you even know how like the ball
If
bath
we're
is
making
supposed to work? Like, is
Rocky Mountain oysters, they can make some steamed clams.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Right?
Okay.
What's your
But
question?
do you know like not like specifics, but like the overarching like how does the ball bath even work? Like what
No.
does it do? Okay.
My idea of it is that it makes it so hot that it like renders the sperm ineffective.
Right.
Is
Because
my
you're
imagining
supposed
of
to
it.
have that at a certain temperature or else
Yeah. That's why
they'll
like
die
doesn't
off or something.
I think like male fertility decreases after sauna use.
it does.
But
well,
then
because
it kicks back up.
that's why your balls technically hang lower off your body is because it's supposed to be at a cooler temperature.
Oh.
And then when it's cold, it sucks back up in your body sometimes is because they're trying to stay warm.
Whoa.
If you didn't know that.
I think intuitively I did, but that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know the specific temperature or whatever they're supposed to be at, but
But even like a high pH balance or something that heated up the fallopian tubes. I'm saying for the
Yeah.
women equivalent.
because I don't know exactly how that works because what is happening now is it's just preventing ovulation from happening, so there isn't an egg to begin with. But what you're saying is like because we already have the sperm, they already have an egg. What could we do to make that like
Micro drones.
inactive?
This is what I'm imagining. This is another I could think of so many ideas.
I bet
This
you
gets me
could.
going. Micro drones that like I'm picturing like one of those rings that blow bubbles
Okay.
at the tip of your dick. Very small one.
Okay.
That's why it's micro drones.
Right.
You have a small ring at the tip of your dick that when you shoot a load, all of the sperm are encapsulated in their own little bubble, rendering them ineffective.
I like the thought because if we actually had the technology to do that, that'd be
kinda cool.
super fucking cool.
Kind of cool.
But
Or we have like the nanobots just kill all the sperm in
get
the
in there
vagina.
and start doing some damage. Yeah.
Think about if sex got to that place where like women could protect think of a weird apocalyptic universe where women have to protect their sexual nature by microbots in their vagina, and then we try to counteract with our own sperm microbots that help try to transport them. That'd be crazy.
If we're getting that deep into it, I feel like the amount of rape is just gonna like skyrocket because we're at that point less of like protection. Like,
Oh yeah,
I
this
need
is
to-
like a really bad society where
I was gonna say,
There's
I feel
no
like we're like
trust.
going into like way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically the
Way
premise
out
of
there.
Star Wars. So the Death Star was an egg,
Okay. Okay.
and all the rebels coming out of them were sperm. And they got one little bullet into that hole, and that's all we need. We just need one. We just need one. And the Big Bang of the Death Destroyer was the Big Bang of life. It's kind of poetic when you think of it like this.
Right. Do you think there's going to be a new culture if this new form of birth control comes out for the man? Do you think it is going to
New
be then
culture.
expected for the man to take the pill? Because we have forced that on women for so long
Yeah.
that now
I think
we should be having the burden.
I think a lot of
doing
the hardcore feminists will try to argue that. I think it'll just make the playing field more level, where, like we said, between two partners, if neither of us wants to take it, it's going to be just more of a standoff, and boom, I'm putting on a condom. You know?
I have a really bad joke for you after this that I'm not going to say on here.
Okay. That sounds good.
I'm not-
I don't know what related to it, which makes me really curious, but all right. I mean, there's always going to be a certain percentage of people that are going to be unreasonable
Right.
and think that
But
this
like,
was done to us for so long that we need to shed the pain onto you. And that's a very scarce mindset.
Right.
And I personally want to have just more of an abundant mindset of like, I get it, you get it. If neither of us want to have it, then we have other means, you know? And some people are going to be a little bit more combative about it, but that's kind of how people work,
yeah.
you know? I could imagine already like the beta males that are proud to be taking it for their woman. I can imagine that.
I can. There's definitely.
know.
I feel like there's definitely a big majority out there. Like, oh, well,
Where they're like
my girl's
proud.
already gonna have to go through so much and blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
I'll gladly take it.
They're proud they're taking one for the team,
Right.
you know? But to each his own. If they want to take it, you know? But
I don't know. I don't know. Me personally, depending on what happens and how it affects you,
yeah.
I'm gonna say yes or no. But I
Yeah.
honestly don't know.
It really depends on the side effects for me too. That's a big one. And once they're like, we get maybe a decade of studies done, so it's like a very rigorous amount of studies.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel confident taking it if it was moderate. It's really like depending on what these side effects are, you know? If it's like you piss blue in the morning, but it doesn't hurt and nothing negative is going to your body. I don't know, you know? Like if it's
That'd be a
just
kinda
null,
cool side effect. I'm
that'd be
not
kind of
gonna
cool,
lie.
right? If you could choose what color your piss was.
I honestly might take it. Like, even if I was in like a dry spell, I honestly might just take it anyways, just so I could pee blue. If that was a side
Just to
effect,
keep you-
just like, hey man, this pill makes me pee blue. I'm taking this shit.
But yeah, it definitely depends on details. But again, it's pretty easy to say if you don't want to take it, I don't want to take it, you know?
I was gonna say there's other things that we can do. So.
There's other things. We got
Yeah.
hand stuff.
But I saw that, I think it was on like Instagram or something, that like they're gonna start human trials
Soon.
sometime.
I heard
And
about that
was
too.
Like,
Interesting.
but yeah,
That's a good question, though. That's a good topic to bring up.
I mean, I definitely feel like it's not gonna be forced on men to start taking it, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people out there that are gonna be like, all
There's
right.
going to be a pushback.
I was gonna say we've been taking it for
Yeah.
however long, which is shitty. I mean, it was kind of, I don't want to say it was forced onto you, but like that was like one of the key things in technology that we had. Like, hey, this is what's happening now. Like, it's so much more effective.
I don't know if it was a bad thing, though.
It wasn't a bad thing, but I feel like coming into it now that there's a male birth control, I feel like most people are gonna be like, all right, well, we've been doing this for however long. I feel like now it's your turn.
What do you think the shitty part, like, define that a little bit more?
As
That
of
you're
like,
saying.
what sense?
Like, you said it was shitty that it was only women that had this
Well, it was like,
technology.
it was because we still had condoms and everything,
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it was just shitty because it was. I feel like it wasn't like the women's responsibility to do it, but I feel like with that key
There's a cultural force almost.
Like, it's better to be taking the pill because it's more effective. So I feel like it was more forced on women to say, like, if you really don't want to be pregnant, then take the pill, and then it won't happen. And it was kind of like, not that it was making condoms like less effective or that you should be using condoms less, but I feel like just in that point in time of it coming out, it was like the new thing. It's more effective. If you don't want this to happen, then take the pill. And I feel like it was just kind of shitty in that sense that it was only for women and it wasn't for men as well.
Gotcha.
Because it wasn't not technically forced onto them, but it was only for them. So it was like, it's your responsibility to do it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, though.
Okay.
Because it led to a big... It helped lead to a big liberation within women. You know, allow them to go out and do things more independently like a man was able to do at the time and today.
As in, like,
and there might have been like a little bit of like a cultural script that played a little bit, but at the same time you can always say no to that. Like, there was never a legal mandate or anything, which is real force, you know.
Right.
There was
well, what I mean, like, by forcing it onto them, like, it wasn't forced by any means.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was just like made
yeah.
their responsibility. Like, even though it wasn't, just the fact that it was only for women and men didn't have to worry about it at all is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. But I think if you, at that time and now, if we didn't have this male stuff coming out, lined up 100 women, I think the majority would choose it on their own free will, then wouldn't.
So, let me put it in phrase of this way. Like, because I know what you understand what I'm saying, but like, opposed from back then, how times were so much different when there were still like these major roles, like here's what the women do, or here's what women do, here's what men do. Fast forward to right now, and the pill hasn't been invented. Fast forward till right now, it just came out for women specifically, what we have now. Do you think more women or less women in nowadays would be taking the pill if it came out just now today?
That's a good question, and it's really complicated, I think, with that it would be not before social media, but now after. I think that's a big factor in a lot of different things that play in our sexual marketplace right now.
Right.
So it's really tough to dissect.
But I mean, like, just big, broad picture as of saying that, because things have just, like, times are so much different now.
Yeah. Well, like, right after the pill was in wide circulation, we had the sexual revolution, where we thought we could... I haven't done a lot of reading on it, but my understanding of it is in the 60s and 70s and maybe 80s, we could do almost anything we wanted and almost sleep around as much as we wanted.
Right.
And it seemed plausible with us being able to block when we could have kids. That was a big downside to women, obviously, you know. What a lot of people didn't think about was sexual transmitted diseases. So that kind of put the kibosh on a huge overarching almost majority of people choosing that route, you know.
But as of saying that, when the huge sexual revolution started, because of the pill coming out, it was forced on women, saying,
I don't like
you're not going to be...
I don't like that you use the word force still. Because we both agree that it wasn't forced.
What would you rather have me say? It was expected as women. Well, it's not... What I'm trying to say is...
Well, like, we both...
Either when the sexual revolution started, because of the pill coming out, or whatever, you could partake in that, and women could do whatever they wanted to, sleep around, or whatever they were doing as much as they wanted to, because they were going to be safe.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do that unless they were taking the pill.
Unless they opted in.
They still could, because there was condoms and stuff, but...
It was much more
they
risky.
Probably wouldn't, because if they're not taking the pill, then why would they? So I feel like that's what I'm trying to say is, like... it was their.
Are you alluding to
not-
more of like a peer pressure force?
I was gonna say it's not. I don't know the right words to describe this. It's not their responsibility, and they're not forced to do anything because no one's forced to do anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was just put on them specifically. If
Yeah.
you wanted to do this, then you could.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, it's basically saying like you can't, in a sense. Like even though you can, like that's your choice, but it wasn't the same for men as it was women.
Yeah, I think overall though it was still like in the short term more of an upside than a downside overall.
I mean, yes, 100%. But I just feel like if you're getting what I'm saying.
I'm trying to, but maybe I'm missing something.
If not, I can try to explain it more.
I just
but
I think
like,
we both agree that force isn't the right word to use.
No, that's definitely not the right word because they're not forced to do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I just don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I'm trying to. I think that word is.
it was just because when you're talking about like the sexual revolution happening because of that coming out, it was like, all right, if women are taking this, then they're going and doing whatever they want. And it's like, if you didn't take that, then you probably weren't doing that. And it's like maybe women still wanted to do that, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the
Yeah.
same because there wasn't anything for men to do that.
Yeah, but it
So-
liberated them so that they could make that free choice. You know.
I mean, yes.
So it was a nice thing to have.
Yeah. And it was like the whole thing was a pro in my opinion anyways, but I just feel like it wasn't equal.
Oh yeah, definitely. When it was,
I mean,
it
I
was
just-
one-sided.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it like any more.
No, it was
or with the
one-sided.
words, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like, but like, I don't know.
Because it's not like what
Well,
I'm trying to say is it's not a bad thing.
This might help. We're men and women when we come into this world are not equal.
right.
We all have different things. And pre-birth control pill, it was a lot tougher just to do anything because at any point, if you ran the risk of getting sexually assaulted, then you would possibly have a kid on your hands.
Right.
You know? And so this helped boost that almost social sexual standard for women to be more. It almost leveled the playing field a little bit more for men and women
I feel like that's
because it's
not-
easier for us to go around and just shoot our seed everywhere,
Right.
and women could not do that, but now they can with this. So it helped bring a level
Okay.
playing field to our sexual playing field.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, it was one-sided, but it had to be one-sided because we already had a leg up on them in that sense. You know?
I mean, yeah.
So we needed it one-sided.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're just playing the one-sided card, I feel like that's just like you're saying, here's some added protection if this serious bad thing did happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of shitty because then you're just saying like,
But that's like that's a biological thing we're fighting. You know, that's something innate. That's shitty. Yeah, it sucks that women are more vulnerable.
right.
But through this technology, we're able to sort of adapt that and overcome that innate biological downside of being a woman. You know?
yeah.
Because if it was for us, then they would. If it was just us in the 1960s, we just switched who could get the pill. Then we could still run rampant and shoot it everywhere. We wouldn't have to worry about alimony for kids, and then they would still be cleaning up after the kids that they had. We might have better. I think like you could argue maybe like better abortion technology might come along to help combat that, but at the same time they would still run that risk a lot higher. So this almost needed to be on their side to help level the playing field a bit. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I mean, I just don't like that it's just favored for one side to do it than the other. I get what you mean, and it happened that way anyways. But I mean, I honestly don't really know. Like, just going off of that, I mean.
So I want to circle back. What exactly let me try to I'm going to try to rephrase what I'm getting from you.
Okay.
You don't like that, let me try to gather it. You don't like that it had to be specifically targeted to women to be one-sided onto them just to get them closer to our level. That kind of, does that rub you the wrong way? Am I summarizing it right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't know how to explain it anymore. I just feel like
Okay.
as of the words that I'm using, they're not right. But I mean, like, I just feel like when that happened, it was expected of them. Not expected because they didn't have to do it, but if they weren't doing it, then they weren't going out and having as much fun as everybody else was.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was shitty because why should they have to be making that hard decision and we aren't?
Yeah.
And there wasn't.
They
the
would have
two
to make that
sides to it.
decision because of them being born female,
Yes.
right?
Because there was just female birth control. There wasn't any male birth control. So it's like.
And if anything, male birth control at that time just for them would have harmed them more.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is basically what I was getting at, but I feel like it was a little bit more complex than that.
Okay.
But, I mean, I honestly don't really know how else to explain it.
I gotcha.
Yes and no.
Yeah. It's tricky. It'd be cool to have a female here to talk.
It would be nice to have some sense on what they thought about it, and if things had been switched.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what I was saying is, like, it's just fucked up that we had it for one side.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been better overall if it was both sided.
I have an idea, a hypothetical. I don't know if it'll work. To maybe try something.
Okay.
Instead, in the 1960s, we produced a pill for men that allowed them to carry and produce children.
Okay.
And so then there was a choice, and that gave the opportunity to many more men to have the opportunity to be house husbands than career men, and gave more women the ability to be career women, not housewives.
Okay.
And so wouldn't the equivalent of that be like saying it's unfair? Because then you would almost see this, let's say there was a cultural outcry to have more men producing kids because for so long it's just been women.
I was going to say it's just been women doing it.
You know? So then there's not a legal pressure and maybe a small cultural pressure, but then this pressure on men to start bearing more children.
Right.
And so that's like, so then trying to tie it back, what you're saying, it'd be like, it's kind of shitty that in order for a man to be able to have a kid that he has to take this pill.
Right.
It's like, I mean, at both these points, we're doing a little bit of defying our biology, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be a little wacky, you know? And it's hard to imagine this reality, actually.
Yeah.
You know? It'd be really crazy if that was an alternate timeline.
I feel like it's just kind of focusing on, like, you're trying to play of, like, making birth control sound like it's not a bad thing, which is not what I'm trying to get at. And it's just like, because birth control is a great thing. Like, this helped so much. But, I mean, just going off of that, if it was two-sided, I feel like it would have been better.
So if the pills were for males and females?
Yes.
I gotcha. Yeah. Which I wonder why it took this long.
I don't know.
You know? I wonder if...
I feel like there should have been, I don't know, more research into it. But
I don't know
because I don't know how long they've been trying to figure this out for. But
Yeah, I don't know if it was easier hormonally to target the egg, instead of sperm, or it was just came down to a lack of interest on researchers, or if what it was. But I mean, it's been 80 decades, and we're just getting to human trials.
I feel like it's more complex in our situation for men, because for women, you're already going through a cycle. So you're not basically losing anything, because like you'll go through the cycle of ovulation, all that happens, and then if you don't get pregnant, you have your period, and then the inner wall and everything goes out, and then you bleed it out, or all that stuff. And then that's a cycle. They keep going through that. When that doesn't happen, then it'll happen again. Ovulation, period, blah, blah, blah. That keeps going. But for us,
we're ready to go all the
semen,
time.
And we're always producing semen.
Dude, we're packing.
So it's kind of hard to say, put something into your body that either makes them inactive or kills them, that doesn't affect you long term. That it just affects you now, so you can do it, and then later.
Yeah.
Because
that's why we need nanobots.
I was going to say, because in the women's sense, you just stop ovulation from happening, then you don't have the egg, no problems. And then she just keeps going.
Well, then for us, couldn't we just stop sperm production from happening?
But then how are you going to start that again? Because they have a cycle that just keeps going. We don't.
We just go. We're like factories.
We just produce.
Well, you just hit pause on the factory.
Exactly. And I feel like that's a
lot harder.
More complex.
That could be. Yeah, we're not scientists.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I'm gonna look at you, but you better have a lab coat on.
You better have a lab coat on.
Because you're talking about glycogen.
Glycogen?
Shut up. That's boring as all fucking all get out.
Boring as all fucking get out. You better have a lab coat on, because you're talking about glycogen. Oh my god. Oh,
that's a good question though.
Also, play back to when we were talking about mammillary glands and all that stuff. How like a woman's diet would affect that with their breast milk.
Okay.
I'm doing in my comp class right now. I've read a study that they did on pigs that show maternal diet on their children. If they eat like a super high fat diet, it actually plays into I don't know the whole like big specifics on what diet they had, like of what they were feeding them like entirely.
The pigs?
Yes. But it was like it showed that if the mother pig was eating this while she was pregnant, later her offspring had glucose intolerance and made it to where they were almost easily to have to be overweight or have diabetes.
Yeah.
So going on to that, it's honestly a pretty cool research.
Yeah.
That we have to write an article on. But
I was just reading a book on some things like that. It was called Let Them Eat Dirt. It was all about the gut microbiome. And a lot of it was talking about more prenatal stuff. And natal, where like you have a lot of different higher risk factors if you're born through C-section as opposed to vaginal birth. And that's due to like the bacteria rub off that you get from vagina births than C-section.
Yep.
So they talked a little bit about that, which is really interesting. And what times they introduce foods like meats and dairy and possible allergen foods that you can try to do a little piece of every little bit.
Okay.
Stuff like that they talked about. That was really interesting with the gut microbiome. Fecal transfers that I've never heard of, which I don't even know how the operation takes place. Do you know about that? I don't know exactly like the technicality of it, but they were talking about how fecal transfers can help a lot of people, have helped some people with like irritable bowel syndrome and different like gut inflammatory diseases. And I don't know how the transplant is done. I don't know if they're transplanting a small amount of a healthy person's fecal bacteria into their gut, or into their mouth or into their own butt, into their own rectum, and that travels up. But somehow they take the bacteria from a healthy individual and get it into a person suffering from different gut inflammatory diseases, which is weird.
I haven't even heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was this book I was reading. I can share it with you. It was Let Them Eat Dirt. And they talked about a lot of that. Some things are in still early research. I think it was published. This book was published in like 2016 or 17. So pretty recent. And some things aren't clear cut, but I mean, there's a lot of interesting things of like higher rates of inflammation resulting in higher rates of anxiety and depression, you know. I mean, like when we get nervous, we feel in our gut, you know, butterflies. Mm-hmm. So there is a mind gut connection, which is really interesting, you know. And so different things like that is really interesting on like, hopefully. Are they playing Doses and Mimosas?
I was going to say, I was just about to say something. I was like, do you hear what I hear?
I fucking love this song. I think
they totally are.
Yeah. But yeah, different stuff like that. And even if you started out with a bad gut microbiome, possibly these transfers might help you. Or eating prebiotic and probiotic things and foods, which was a good read. It was really interesting. Yeah. I want to write an article on it and post that up.
It pretty good.
At some point. Yeah, the gut's weird. It's really weird.
The gut's complicated. We're going through digestion right now in my BMS class, and
it blew my mind when somebody gave me the concept that if you're in our gut, you're technically outside of the body because mouth to anus is one tube. Mm-hmm. So we're just like, I don't know, we like collect things in the world and
You're just housing it for a while.
We put it into our tube and then absorb things and then it leaves our tube. Mm-hmm. It's really weird to think of it like that. Because right when you eat, you think of it as like it becoming you, but you kind of just like take a couple pieces of it and take that and then the rest you shoot out.
Pretty much.
Which is a weird way to think of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, the gut is honestly super cool because we learned about some of the ways of like how digestion actually works, and it's like there's so many different receptors and chemicals that go into it to like actually digest things in our food.
Yeah.
It's so complex.
I think it was Rhonda Patrick that said like the majority of our serotonin is produced from our gut. I wish I had research to back that up. I thought like a substantial amount of serotonin is produced in the gut, which also, I don't know. That'd be something to look into, though. That's what I heard. I could be getting the numbers wrong, though.
I don't know.
You look like you had something to say.
I was trying to think of something that would kind of play off of that, but I don't have anything.
Yeah, the gut's weird. I'm reading a book right now called, what is it? Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. This dentist in the 1930s, I think, went to in the teens of different tribes and studied their nutrition patterns and then how they had almost no dental problems and I think also nutritional problems as well. And like, because he took photos, which they show in the book as well, and all of them have perfect teeth. And you come to more industrialized first world Western countries, and we're pulling teeth, we're realigning teeth, we have cavities, all this kind of stuff.
I bet nutrition plays a big factor in it, but I feel like a lot of it's genetics.
Well, you would say that, but it's happened so quick in so few generations that it's hard to say there was a genetic adaptation that happened.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, me personally, like my dad has really crooked teeth and my mom has straight teeth and she's always had straight teeth. My brother has straight teeth, and then I've had crooked teeth. I had braces, and then I wore my retainer forever, and then my teeth have gone crooked again.
There's a couple different theories of why it's not genetic and what the actual causes are. Some is nutrient deficiencies, that our soil that produces our crops are not yielding as much nutrients as they normally do. And so we have different deficiencies where the bones are weaker that we produce in general, but that in our face structures specifically. What was the other one? Our foods have become more soft. If you think evolutionarily, moving from like raw,
like different ways of processing foods and stuff.
vegetables and meats, to cooked meat, which is still pretty tough, to these industrial agricultural grains, whole wheat and stuff like that are super soft. If you think of like cereals and bars and all that kind of stuff that are very soft, so not a lot of a weakened structure, and then our jaws also having not a lot of tension put against it at the same time.
It's just not working as hard, so it's...
Yeah, okay. So it gets a little bit weaker as well. And then there's been like a shrinking of the jaw, which that's what leads to the crowding of teeth within it. Some people would lay not a some people would lay a marginal of the blame to our breathing patterns right now. We have a higher rate of mouth breathing in our Western societies than we have in the past. And the rate of our breathing as well is different. But specifically when we nose breathe, the air comes down and shoots into the back of our throat and almost tones those muscles. But for people that are primary mouth breathers, it doesn't do that same thing, and our tongues even start to slide back as well. And there's it's not archaeological studies on primitive bone structures that they've seen, and that our jaws have constantly gotten smaller and smaller, stuff like that.
Interesting.
There's a lot how the theory goes down. Yeah. But yeah, this dude traveled around. I just got onto like chapter 3. Chapter 2 was really good. He was just talking about how like he made a lot of references to a bunch of different people that were talking about how
those
flip-flops are so loud.
Wow.
It's got to be this booth though.
Yeah, it probably hits in here. Just
bounces. What was I talking about?
Chapter 2.
Oh, how like nutritional deficiencies can lead to lower cognitive performance, which leads to higher rates of criminality and also just less school attendance as well. So there's a huge societal impact on this if there's actually a nutritional problem, which there could be, you know. And the book didn't cover it, but I think we're kind of getting to the consensus that our fruits and vegetables are not as nutrient packed as they used to be. Have you heard about that?
Well, that's mostly like genetic modification of foods now.
Is it?
Because they do, it's mostly for like pesticides and stuff, but other has been like the rate of growth for some foods. They just put in, they're genetically modified to make it to where like insects don't want to eat them when they're growing, instead of opposed to just spraying them with pesticides and all that stuff, because people don't like that. It's bad. And then like the washing process is all funky, and some pesticides will like stick on even if you like wash them off and stuff, and it if you eat them, it's really bad for you. So there's genetic modification from that, and then there's also genetic modification of making them grow faster. These could be affecting some nutritional benefits of it, because it's not a real like tomato in that case. Because they're making the grow time slower, or not slower, they're making the grow time faster. The rate of it just like jacks up. I don't know like the exact like specifics of it, but I feel like that's just a lot of like genetic modification of foods now.
Yeah. Well, the accuse that I heard was that it was because of our soil is becoming more and more deficient.
How so?
Because of like these quick agricultural, industrial farming practices where there's no regenerative process, so the plants, to a certain extent, get some of their strength and nutrients from the soil, as well as the like water and sun that goes into it and fertilizer and everything like that. But the soil is like the main way they get a lot of their nutrients, is how my understanding is.
Because I know what you're talking about, because they usually for agriculture they usually leave it a year for their fields. They'll till it and then rake it up and everything, and break the earth, mix it all around when they do it, and then they'll just leave it and they'll let the soil do whatever to like kind of regenerate in a sense. And then the next growing season they'll do it again. So like less and less of that because there's a higher demand for food. Yes. So I could see that.
Yeah. And I heard with that tilling process, like when you till it up like that the sun almost cooks all the good stuff, all the like the positive bacteria and stuff like that, and almost some of the nutrients in the top 6 inches of the soil is what I've heard.
Yes, but then it regrows itself like on the bottom of it, like in the dents of the soil.
But then if you only plant in those 6 inches, like then you don't get those nutrients that packed in below it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if we continue to work with the same 6 inches, and which makes sense to me, because I don't think like we're feeding back enough of the nutrients that we might be getting out of the soil.
Right.
Like intuitively, and I'm not obviously specialized in this.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but
I don't know.
Like intuitively, it makes sense to me. It'd be easy to not to be feeding the plants well, but not feed the soil that feeds your plants. Intuitively, to me, that makes sense to be an easy oversight. Where then year by year, and it happens gradually, so it's almost hard to even notice at the same time. And it's not even something you can't really touch the nutrient in a soil. You can barely even touch the nutrient in a plant, and so to see that decrease would be not visible, which is a lot harder to see as a possible problem. And then over generations, the plants continually, especially with what I hear is like monocrop agriculture, where you just kind of plant, harvest, instead of like planting one thing and then whatever, letting that die and decompose and having something else grow on top of that. Well, there's kind of a cycle. There's a lot less of that, I hear, and there's more monocrop happening right now.
I feel like
is my understanding of it.
I think of what you're getting at is from the nutrients not coming from the soil anymore. I feel like that's the limited space that we have, because there's some areas that are just not fertile. Like you can't grow very many things. And I feel like the limited space, you got to take what you can get and use fertilizers or whatever to help your plants grow. And then I feel like the deficiencies coming from that is definitely a yes. But I don't know the exact ways of how the soil like gets its nutrients or how the whole process of that going through. But I know like down in like big growing areas, they get most of the soil gets it from like their water sources from around when the water moves through. That's how some of the nutrients I know, because I learned that in Jay's class. We took a horticulture class. And I don't remember everything, but something like that. But just most of the areas that are like rich growing areas, I feel like it's just diminishing. Yeah. And we're just taking what we can get at this point. And also with livestock and stuff, most areas are just like dedicated to growing plants now. And like you said, it's just using up all that material and we're not giving back. Like animals play a big role in that because they're eating plants and all that stuff, and then when they poop everything back out as fertilizer back for the soil.
Yep.
It's just not getting that anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know what agriculture companies and everything are doing. So I
think there's
really speak on their behalf.
I think there's some regenerative farms, but the majority of our farming practices are of the monocrop variety that seem, I forget where I heard this,
Just
but
cranking out food.
yeah, just cranking it out. And you might be getting like the product, but the nutrient density, I think, is decreasing, is the idea. Yeah, and then like, this standard American diet, we're sad.
Yeah.
Is like there's a lot of soft foods, a lot of breads and grains and stuff like that. Getting back to the jaw stuff, you never really get a good workout chewing unless you chew like gum or something like that sometimes. But that's kind of the idea behind it.
I did see an ad on Instagram for like a new gum that they have that's supposed to like tone your jaw.
Yeah. There's something I saw where it was like harvested from animal tendon or something like that. A type of gum. It has a foreign name to it. Like I think in other countries it's big. It's like flame or flam. Not phlegm. I don't know what it's called. But it was like bye. But it was like you're basically chewing on like I think animal tendons or something like that. Which sometimes on like jerky, I'll chew on the tendons extra long. So I've thought about trying it out. Oh, dude. Worked out yesterday, and then I was hitting the sauna, trying to meet the big old JC for a little bit, have a chat. And this dude asked me what I worked today. He's like, yeah, you look yoked. I was like, thanks, dude.
You look yoked,
Started
bro.
blushing in the sauna. Fuck, man.
You look yoked.
So nice. Have you been in the steam sauna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've been sitting on where the steam comes out when they shoot it. It is so hot, dude. I call it the hot seat. I tried sticking my...
How original.
So original. But I tried sticking my hand out, and I thought I burnt myself. Like, it steams you, dude.
Put your ball sack right there. Just over the little...
Oh, God.
And then...
bang somebody?
And then just text your woman and just be like, hey, yo, I am ready. I am burnt, but I am ready.
Crispy, baby. But I was sitting on the hot seat for like 20 minutes, getting my sweat on. These two total bros come in, and they're like, let's get it rocking in here. I'm like, hit it. And so they hit the sensor. It goes, and I'm already sitting on the hot seat, so I'm cooking, dude. They go, I'm going to hit it one more time. I'm like, okay.
I bet.
They hit it, and then leave after that. They were there for like 5 minutes. And I was already in on...
Just like get in like, yeah, that's some steam.
I was like, how long are you guys doing it? And they were like, about 10. How about you? And I was like, 35. Thanks for steaming me out, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, bros.
But better than the dudes that cracked a beer in there. It smelled like bush the whole time. That was the worst part. I can't imagine that. Thought about getting very high and going in there.
That would be fun. I'm not going to lie.
Just getting lifted.
I haven't gotten high for a while because I've been donating.
Yeah. Would it be that bad if you did?
I don't know if they'll even use it.
Can you ask them?
I bet I could ask them.
I mean, it's legal.
I was going to say, I'll probably wait, though, because, like,
they'll
the compensation
be like,
part.
Aren't you, like, 20?
Like, sir. They probably will, honestly. But
just be like, I have a friend that's also donating blood. But say, I have a friend. No, seriously. Say this, ready?
This reminds me of your salt fiasco. I have a friend. We're putting that on here.
No.
We're talking about this
after this.
Yes.
After this. Just go up to them and be like, I have a friend that really wants to donate blood, but they really like
I do have a friend
toke up.
that is exactly like this.
Hutch?
No, Ash. You don't know him.
Ash is a good name for
he's-
somebody that likes to smoke.
He smokes like almost daily.
Ash is such a good name for that, though.
He does, and I think he is gonna start donating here soon because he texted me about it, and I was like, "Yo, use my promo and get me extra money because that'd be sick." But he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna hit me really hard if I'm not allowed to smoke," and I was like, "I don't know that for sure," but it asks you. On like the questionnaire that you go in and like answer your questions like have you been taking these medications, or like have you ever had sexual relations with a man, or all that crap for like HIV and stuff. It asks you all those questions before you come in, and then it asks you, have you used synthetic marijuana since the last time you donated?
Oh, so just
And
synthetics?
then if
Yeah,
I
see
don't know
that.
if it's just synthetics, but
Well, if you smoked just some flower, then that's not synthetic, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Weird.
I guess I could just answer yes one of these times and then just go talk to the nurse, because they
Yeah.
send you into the nurse and be like, could you talk about it? So you just be like,
You're like, you really gonna throw out my blood just for some THC?
I don't know if you're allowed to donate if you do or not, but I don't. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I could just Google it.
That too. Or just ask him next time you're in.
I feel like I'm gonna ask and just be like, you guys like not take it, or like are you not allowed to donate, or like what's up?
What do you do for core work in the gym?
What do you mean?
To work your abdominals?
I usually do like a circuit workout.
How many exercises?
I got up to 12.
12 exercises
Yeah,
in your circuit?
I had a big core workout.
That sounds like too much.
It kind of is, but
Can I
was
tell you
going
how much
hard.
I do? How many I do?
Yes.
One.
You do one core exercise.
One core exercise.
That's it.
On the side, you might count the kettlebell work because I'm like holding the bell up and there's a stabilization at play.
Yeah, but
it's not
really
directly.
not like.
No.
I mean, you are, but
If you,
it's
I'm
not.
saying if you count that, then there's more. But other than that, I
What do
have
you
one.
do?
Toes to bar.
That's it.
That's it.
Interesting. So you're not
That's all I do.
okay. You know it's more than just here, right?
See that? See that right
So
You see me?
I would recommend doing more core workouts
Why?
because your core here, this isn't the only muscle for your core.
Bring the mic to you. Okay.
Sorry.
You're. Oh wow. That's too much.
This isn't the only muscle for your core. Like you have your external obliques.
Yeah.
And then you have upper core muscles that help for your trunk stabilization, which will probably be hitting more for your kettlebell workouts.
Possibly.
But yeah, I feel like if you're just doing one core exercise, you're
Well, I
definitely
guess
not.
core does refer to all this right here.
Yes.
And for those just listening, I'm pointing to abdominals and you said obliques, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I meant more abdominal work. Because doesn't most of the abdominal work just work like this and then your legs raising up as well?
Basically,
They don't really
yes.
work side to side.
That's your obliques.
Yeah.
Side to side.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean-
if you're to do abdominal work, then something like toes to bar would almost hit everything for the most part.
yes. There's big variation in it, but I mean, I feel like if you're just doing one workout, I mean, you can do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
I feel like. if
Well,
you
tell
just
me I'm
do
wrong. What's up?
Well, I mean, if you're just doing one workout, like, oh, I just go into the gym, I do bicep curls, and then I leave for arms.
Oh.
I mean, I know your arms have more muscles and it's more complex than your abs, but I feel like that's honestly like kind of the same thing.
I kind of see what you're saying.
Like
But-
for your back, like for your lats, you go in the gym, you do lat pull downs, and you leave.
Yeah.
That's it. Do you think that would be enough for your back?
For the most part.
Just
For
go
your
in,
lats?
do some lat pull
Oh.
downs, and then leave
For your entire back or for your lats?
for your entire back.
Oh, then no. Because there's multiple muscles.
Exactly.
But isn't your abdominals?
there's multiple muscles.
I thought it was one set. No?
Because you can work out sections of your ab. You can do
I've-
lower,
I've
upper,
heard that's bunk.
mid. How so?
That you can't target upper, mid, and lower.
Depending on what exercise
think-
you're doing.
I think with what you said, it might make sense for the upper connectors, maybe. That what you said a couple minutes ago makes sense. But how it's been described to me is like this, your core, not your core, your abdominals just connects like your upper and lower and flexes you like this, you know?
Mhm.
Same with your lower back.
Which is
And so basically all you can do with this is stuff like this, like that's like sit-ups, but or something weighted, you know, like the raise sit-ups or toes to bar, you know, because you're flexing that up. So then other than that, I think it'd be a little disingenuous to say it's the same as just hitting biceps and calling it an arm day, because the abdominals are just that singular muscle. So then instead, I think it'd be more correct, if I have my understanding correctly, that if you just hit biceps and called it a bicep day, then you would be technically correct, right?
yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, if you go in and you do, because that's all your arm does. This is all your arm does.
What about your tricep? Your tricep lowers.
Well, yeah, your tricep lowers.
Yeah.
But if you're going in for just biceps, like you say, you're going in just for core, and you're only doing one workout, and you do this. Yes, but there's other muscles that you got to include to it, because this, like, I'm gonna get super anatomical right here.
Okay.
But like supination, pronation.
Yep.
This muscle. Your bicep also does this.
Does your abdominals have something similar to that, though? So would it
Iffy.
work for this metaphor then?
Yes. Well, okay, so traps. All
Okay.
you do is trap shrugs, right?
Okay.
And there's different ways to work out your traps than just trap shrugs. Do you do anything other to work out for your traps?
Your traps only have one really function, right? To raise and lower. No?
No.
Then could
They
you
have upper, middle, and lower as well.
Then could you compare your traps to your abdominals?
Technically, yes. It's hard because
Isn't
it's a
it-
different section of your body, and the muscle is shaped so much more differently. But if we're getting into that sense, then
Maybe
yes.
like, is it fair to compare, because they do almost the same thing, your abdominals to similar to your lower back? Where you could almost do
as of like just core movements or
Yeah.
trunk movements,
yeah.
as of just like flexion and extension.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, couldn't you get most of what you needed to get for just your is it
extenders.
I guess with like your body, your head moving forward and backwards
Flexion and
more.
extension.
Yeah. So couldn't you pretty much sew up everything you need to do with like something like toes to bar and then back extensions to hit both those pretty well,
Supposedly, yeah.
right? Technically. So yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong,
Okay.
but I mean, I just feel like if you really want high definition and like the more over full workout for that muscle, I feel like you need to be doing more. And you can do whatever you want, but I just feel like
How so?
as of like working out more,
Well,
like
like-
doing more than just one exercise when you go into the gym.
Why?
Because
Why
it's going to
not
hit
one?
more sections of it and work it out better.
But then we
as
just
of just
kind
doing
of
toe to bar.
But then we just kind of come to the consensus that it's more just one section you hit. The whole thing is one section.
Well, depending on what workout you're doing. If you're just calling your whole abdominal muscles one section and you're doing one workout to hit all that whole section, then yes.
Okay.
But if you want to define as an upper, mid, and lower, even though you said it's not true, you can't do that.
What I've seen, you can't do it, but it sounds like you're under the impression that you can.
I feel like yes, because I've learned of different exercises that you can do that hits different sections of your abs.
So could you show me 1 to 3 workouts where I would only feel my lower abdominals?
Only lower?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to work out your whole abdominal muscle, but it's sectioned into lower.
But
Like
it
when you
puts an
do-
emphasis on your lower?
I was going to say, when you do the workout, it's not like it's just going to hit your lower
Yeah.
abs. It's going to focus on that, but you're still going to get the whole overall sensation of it working out your whole section, if that makes sense.
So, but I don't think...
So, like, I'll relate this back to your traps. When you do trap shrugs, you're just working out your upper part of your trap. You're not working out the mid or lower part.
Yeah.
You technically are, because it's your whole muscle, and when you do your trap shrug, you're working out that whole muscle.
Maybe, like,
but you're not hitting.
I don't think the quadricep, I don't think the traps is a good comparison.
Why not?
Because your traps actually do have 3 parts, and I'm not convinced your abdominals can be split into 3 parts.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure there are workouts you can do that hit upper, mid, and lower traps.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And you can with abdominal muscles too.
But I'm saying, like, you could hit lower trap and not feel your upper trap. But you're saying to me, you could hit lower ab, but you're still going to feel part of the rest of your abs. So
Yes.
that wouldn't be a fair comparison, you know?
Okay.
Maybe a better comparison would be like the quadricep, where there's 4 muscles to fill it in. Right?
Yes.
But there's not really many exercises that target
this.
exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So if you did something like a leg extension, then you're hitting all 4. And anybody that would tell you, oh yeah, if you do this workout, it would hit one of the 4 quadriceps would be
Either
selling
your
you some
middle,
bullshit, right?
Your middle, your side, or the one that's actually in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say that you're wrong because you're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, just from what I've learned.
I'm not trying to like prove myself right, but
No,
I'm trying
no,
to
no.
dissect the like that you can't it's hard to say you're definitely targeting it if you hit your top but you still feel your middle and bottom abdominals, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's not really you're almost like trying to be precise with a shotgun. You're still hitting everything, you know.
Right.
So I guess that's like a loose way to say target then at that point, right?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
So, what's the main question that you're trying to have me answer then?
I don't have any question. I was trying to get at if I heard wrong about
Or are you just saying that
sectioning
your
these things.
one exercise was enough?
What originally started this was I was just going to talk about how I got these wrist straps that have metal hooks on them. Why'd you grab the table?
Your phone's vibrating.
Oh, it is? Oh. These wrist straps that have hooks that go into your palm.
Mm-hmm.
So you can grip like a barbell and deadlift without worrying about grip strength. And so that was the one barrier to like being able to have one exercise that really like functionally hits my abs, you know, that holds it. And so I can just hang there, dude, and I'll do 3 sets. I'll hit it for 12 toes to bar, which fucking rips. And then I'll sit there and then do knee raises to burn it off again because it's already hard. But I'll try to match, like if I do 12 toes to bar, I'll do 12 knee raises. And then I'll take a break. And then I think right now it's the next is like 9. I can hit pretty consistently, and then 9 knee raises, break. And then like 6 or 7, I think, right now. And then I'm cooked. That's been very helpful. And it's quick, you know. You hit 3 sets on abs and you're done compared to your 12. Not saying you're wrong either.
I haven't done that recently.
Okay.
That was back when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I just fucking...
That's what originated me bringing this up. But then I've heard obviously some contradictory, but I've mostly heard that you can't directly target any of the 3. But I know you have an interest in this, and that's why I was asking questions on if you actually could. But it doesn't sound like you directly can. You're always going to have some splash, right?
I was going to say, you're going to have splash because it's hard, like, in your movements of your exercise, I guess, is where you're going to get it. Because when you're talking, like, for your leg raises, if I was just laying on the ground and then I just do leg raises, that's going to help on lower section of the ab because that's where the whole force is coming from, is more lower.
Especially if you don't
And
do full
then
range of motion,
when
right?
you're doing a crunch, it's going to come from the upper part.
Yeah.
So when you just do the crunch, if you're doing...
Okay.
Because it's...
I see what you're saying.
It's going to hit the whole section of it.
I see what you're saying, actually.
But some exercises are going to target a specific
So it's
point.
almost like working long head and short head.
Yes. So like
that makes sense.
bicep curls, just do regular, and then you do a hammer curl.
Yeah.
That's different because you're working your supination long head of your bicep more during hammer curls as opposed to a regular bicep curl that works both of them.
So would it be fair to say that you can sort of hit different parts of your abdominals if you what's the word I'm trying to look for? If you only use certain ranges of motion. That's almost the rule of thumb.
So,
right?
Yes.
So then
it's
go
just,
ahead.
It's
Sorry.
just like the range of your exercise because like you said, to work out abs, it's just this. Like that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that, like if I was doing leg lifts, it's centered for lower, but when you get to a point, you're working out the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some of it is sections to most of the lower, but when you're doing it, it's that motion.
Because when you do a leg lift, you're definitely going to start retracting with the lower, and then the higher you go, the more likely you're going to retract with the upper.
Exactly.
Then
vice versa with a crunch, you start with your upper when you're bringing up, and then you're going to get the whole range of motion for your whole section.
So then it probably would be easier than to just do something that's full range of motion for the abdominals then, right?
Technically, yes.
Right.
I feel like it just depends on what exercises you're doing.
Yeah, and what you want to get done.
Because, like, if you're doing, like, your toe to bar, that works out everything.
It'll hit everything.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But for people that are doing, like, just sit-ups, like, that's definitely more centered for upper core. And if you're just doing sit-ups,
you're
your
missing
upper
a bit.
core is going to be much stronger than your lower core.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, I feel like yes and no, because I feel like it is sectioned, but there's only so much section that you can get before you start working out the whole.
The abdominals are weird, though, because we're almost always in the long head positioning. So does it have the same anatomy physics that take place as comparatively to the bicep? Yeah.
It's hard to compare it to anything because all of your muscles are different.
That's true.
Because they're all shaped differently. They all do different things.
That's true. That's what's cool about the body,
your
dude.
Pec muscle, like it's just like a whole circle.
Yeah.
It can do so many things with your shoulder joint. Like they can do some flexion. It can do extension. It can do abduction. It can do adduction. It can do horizontal adduction. Those are all the movements that it can do. Just this muscle.
And it's like these muscle fibers are literally just attached to your chest and out to your shoulder, right?
I was going to say right to your arm.
Yeah, right to your arm. Attaches. And that's all, like they're all flowing just that way.
And you can do that many movements.
That's more like, it's more of an accessory though, because your shoulder joint is doing
it's
a lot of it, but it has a place, which is, that's what's really cool about the body, actually.
I was going to say that's kind of the way it is for some other muscles too, because like your bicep, it goes up and attaches in your shoulder. So if you actually like flexed your bicep fully, it would do this. Well, first it would do this supination because it also attaches to one of your forearm bones. It would first supinate when it contracts, then it would flex at your elbow joint, and then since it's attached to your shoulder joint, it would also contract up this way and flex at your shoulder.
That's why we do this.
That's the whole range
That's why
of
we do
motion of
this.
the bicep.
Another fucking bag.
But, like, if you were actually doing, like, flexion of the shoulder, most of your shoulder muscles, like your deltoid, is going to do most of the motion, and your biceps just kind of, like, accessory. Like, it helps, but not a lot. But that's kind of weird with your core because
the core,
that's
like,
basically kind of the only thing that's there.
Do you think it would be more accurate to say the core has two long heads or two short heads? Does that even make sense? Do you know what I'm getting at? It's almost like it has two long heads. Because the core's like the bicep fully extended twice. Do you know what I'm getting at?
I feel like I know what you're getting at, but I don't know if I would describe it that way.
It's a weird description.
Because when you say different heads, like a long and a short head, I feel like
It almost
your
has two
muscle's
longs.
split. Like it's still the same muscle, but it's split. Like your tricep has 3 sections, and those are like attachment points. So if you're talking about like each individual ab, then yes, but other than that, I don't know if I would classify.
Yeah, your
it that
abdominals is
way.
like 6 mini biceps, right?
I think it's actually 8
Oh,
because you have 2 small ones right below your ribs, and then you have your 6.
oh, are those 2 small ones below your ribs like
Actually, you have 10.
like
Because you have 2 small ones, and then you have your regular 6, and then you have the shorter ones that kind of go down.
connect?
Yeah.
What does your abdominal connect to? What bone or
It's just tendon.
does it connect to ribs?
Because you have your muscle, and then you have
What does it
tendon
connect
in
to up here?
between to another one. Up here, I believe it.
The rib cage?
I think it's the bottom of your ribs. We haven't done trunk yet, so I don't know specifics.
Does it connect to ribs down to what's down here?
Down here, I don't know what it connects to down here, which is the bad thing.
But you
So
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you're still learning about this.
Yeah. We're going over trunk. Actually, just now because we took our exam last week,
Hey.
or actually still this week.
You can ask them our questions.
I could. But yeah,
Yeah, the body's cool.
I feel like abs are special though, because yes, you have that one motion, but you can do different variations of that motion to work out different sections of it, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
Like basically what we were
Like,
talking
give me a
about, like
movement that hits the top.
a regular crunch or sit up.
Oh, okay. What hits the middle?
Everything.
What hits the bottom?
Usually lower leg lifts or like flutter kicks, anything like that.
Okay.
Like more of that, like when Johnny Asman had us do the V sits or whatever. That's more lower.
Okay. Okay. I can kind of picture that because it does
like,
have these pockets almost. So if you just did a very low movement like the V sit where it just needs to utilize one pocket to get that angle going, I could see that as like a targeting thing.
Because like if you just do, like he's always yelling at us, like 6 inches off the ground. Like if you go up 6 inches, that's usually just working out most of your lower core. You'll use your whole core because that's that motion, but the emphasis will be on the lower.
Yeah.
And if you keep going up, then it's just gonna gradually increase the amount of abdominal muscle that you're using.
Yeah. I guess, do you think there's a stronger argument for doing multiple workouts for abdominals or for doing a very low amount or doing just like maybe 2 or 3 that hit wide range every time?
If you're hitting all of it, then
you're doing pretty good, right?
I can say if you're hitting all of it in like 2 or 3 exercises, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you're doing specialized, like the circuit workout that I usually did, I do leg lifts, hold for a minute, and then I do scissor kicks for a minute, and then I do flutter kicks for a minute for lower, and then I'd usually do crunches, regular sit-ups, and then cable crunches for upper, and then all over I would do toe to bars. I would do full-on crunch V-sits where you like bring up your legs and your hands to like a middle kind of position.
There you
go. And what else did I do?
That's a lot. How many rounds of that would you do?
I worked my way up to 3.
And how many like reps or time per workout?
Usually I would hold, like for the things that I timed, I did it for a minute, and then other things I did 20 reps.
That's fun.
It was a lot.
Sounds rough.
I would hate myself in the morning. Like I literally like wake up and I'd try to sit up out of bed. I'm like, so I'd roll out of bed.
The first time I got those hooks, the next day my abs were sore, and I haven't had them sore in a while. And I think it's gotten used to that movement, which is good, you know, because that means there was a weakness in my body there. But I like them a lot. you know, because I try to go for the functional stuff as quick as I can, you know. That's why I'm hitting kettlebells and stuff. So I'm already getting that like core stabilization that's in, and then I'll hit that right at the end just as a burner. And I could get just a few before the hooks where it was almost just like a grip work than a core work. But now it's actually a core work where I'm trying to get more reps of my core, getting my legs up and hitting the bar and stuff with like climbing and stuff. It'll help with that, you know, so it'll hopefully pay off.
So you haven't been doing any oblique work?
Not directly, I guess.
Interesting.
I guess
they're not super strong muscles to begin with.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I guess your obliques don't really get hit in rows, right? Like a dumbbell row? No. They probably work as stabilizers when I'm doing the kettlebell stuff.
They definitely
That's
do.
probably the one thing that
they
works.
do a lot of exercises that you do for upper body. Sometimes
It stabilizes.
It's a big stabilizer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm probably hitting them in that.
You probably are. But
so I'll do like a rack squat, which is the kettlebell up by your shoulders, and then squat in that. So being able to have to stabilize that and not fall over. So they're getting accessory work, you know, just not directly.
Interesting. I was gonna say for obliques, what I usually did, and this was also in my circuit. I'd also do planks for like overall, and then I do side to sides where you swing your hips back and forth while you're planking, and then I do Russian twists, and then don't drop the baby, which is where you just like set the ball to your side, crunch up, rotate, grab it, rotate while you're holding it slowly across, place it down gently as opposed to just like throwing it down.
Yeah.
Go back and then do it again.
Yeah. I'll do that with the kettlebell sometimes.
I was gonna say that's a good workout.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I was fucking going insane on abs. I did way too many workouts.
Well, we talked a couple of weeks ago you were doing too many workouts with your normal workout plan too. Have you cut that down?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you getting under an hour?
Nice. I think I'm like right at an hour. Like I average an hour now.
Last
pretty good.
3 I've hit exactly 60 and I stopped.
That's nice.
I was like, fuck. Barely hit it.
I need to start incorporating more cardio though, because I haven't been running.
I just go to my breath. I get my breath back and then hit it again. That kind of works.
That's
as
what
my
I
cardio.
usually do. I usually don't wait a long time between sets.
Yeah.
But I got a little belly on me right
You
now.
get a bit of a belly.
I got a little belly.
Yeah, man. If I could stop eating the fucking cookies, I would probably be showing a full 6.
Because I had a pretty defined six-pack in high school.
Yeah.
But I feel like my diet's changed
Getting some food.
pretty much.
But I've heard like that balance of like, especially being natural, you have to balance. Was it being lean or gaining strength? Isn't that the balance? I think a lot of people say. So I'm kind of fine with being. I mean, I'm not even close to fat, you know, but having a little bit on me just to help support that more strength growth than looking good, you know. I think I
look fine.
It'd be nice to have a 6-pack though. It's always nice.
That is nice. It is.
I saw this like interview with More Plates, More Dates, and do you know that guy online? And some other dude who like consistently stays at like 8-9% body fat percentage all the time and still makes strength gains. Like he perfectly rides the line, which is pretty impressive, but I couldn't do it.
Oh man, I don't think I could do that.
What do you think that hole's up there for? Are they just tape an X over some wiring? Is that supposed to be a light?
I don't know. Why would they have 2 lights?
Study time, baby.
The whole light gets the whole.
But so what's the hole for then? I don't think about that.
Fucking hang on.
Oh, what's he doing? Oh, he's checking on the other booths. Oh, he's checking on. He's coming back.
So there's another hole in the other one, but then after that other one, and the lights over there, there's like a white cap in the hole. So
Is that hole the same as the other hole?
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
So, like, let's have a conversation about holes really quick. What's your favorite hole?
My mouth.
It's a good hole.
Put food in it.
It's a good hole.
Feels really good when I put things in it.
I know.
Jesus.
Good hole talk.
Good hole talk. What's your favorite hole?
What is my favorite hole? Let me think about this for a second.
That's a tough call. Because on second thought, I want to say butthole. Because you'd be constipated without it.
Yeah.
You really have to... Like, if you could only have one hole. Holes are important, though.
I don't know. I would say my eyes. Because I really like to see. And have you ever, like, tried to, like, cover one of your eyes and, like, act like if you were blind in one eye, like, how much that affects you?
Yeah.
Like, the range of vision that is lost.
What about your sweat holes? You couldn't regulate temperature? Yeah.
Well, you can still regulate temperature.
Panting like a dog.
No.
How else would you regulate?
Your blood regulates it. Your vessels.
Well, isn't a big, like, regulation for especially heat, sweating? Because...
Well, yeah.
So that would be a big one.
I mean, it helps, but it's
Yeah.
not the only thing.
It's the main thing.
Is it?
For heat regulation and hot temperatures, I think so.
Is it?
I believe so,
Are you 100% on that?
What else do you do in 100-degree heat that helps you other than sweat?
You tell me.
I don't need to, because you're...
No, you tell me. What else happens? Do you know of anything else?
I drink nice glasses of lemonade.
Nice glasses of lemonade. Thank you very
with
much.
ice cubes on top.
Is that it? Is that the only thing you think of?
You know what also helps is, like, tying up my flannel above me to let my belly button expose, just to kind of let a lot more breeze get through. And shorter jean shorts will help with that breeze as well. So I guess that's another thing I like to do. And when it's like 110 degree, I'm definitely going to have a rocket pop in hand.
God. It is time to stand.
Stand?
Stand.
Oh. Okay, stand and talk to me.
I don't listen to it very much.
Isn't that one of your goals?
To stand?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Kinda. What else do you do other than... This is why we have cables, and this is portable. What else do you do? What am I missing?
What do you
Peeing? Pooping?
No, I usually like get up and actually do something active instead of just stand.
No. When you're hot, what do you do to regulate
Oh.
temperature?
I thought you... your blood vessels, they dilate and constrict. It's hard in hot temperatures.
Yes.
Because when you're hot, like when you're exercising, you get really hot because your blood vessels dilate to get more blood to your skin, so it'll radiate off of you to get rid of heat. But
So
when you're in a hot situation, when those blood vessels dilate and it brings the blood closer to the skin, it's also taking in the heat from the outside.
So we mostly want to sweat.
Well, I mean, yeah.
How long do you like to stand for?
A minute. It usually says, "You did it."
You did it. A lot of people are dressed up.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Would that be a sorority thing?
Maybe. Yes.
Sure. All right. This is happening.
Adventure.
What? How's it going?
Great.
What's your name?
I'm Azelle.
Azelle. I'm Bosch.
Hi. Bosch?
Yes.
I'm just being really nosy.
No, you're good. Here.
Oh,
Try this.
sick. So what's going on here, guys?
So
Yes.
Can I be in it too?
Yes.
What's going on? So what's going on, guys? What are we doing? Yeah.
Can you? So these
Anything.
are directional. So if you point
Oh, sorry.
it, can you hear yourself?
Yes, sir. Hello. So what's going on, guys? What are we doing?
We're just talking.
About what?
Anything.
Anything.
What's the topic?
What were we?
It was just
We were talking about
how you cool down when you're exercising.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like
Chocolate milk. Chocolate milk, 100%. It always works.
Cool lemonade.
Let's talk about creatine and milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Together.
gross.
About milk, actually.
Yeah. What
Milk
about
is good.
creatine in milk, though?
Bad
Oh. Well, you like milk.
Okay, so
You love
creatine
milk.
and milk. That's a good one. But my best recommendation is probably creatine and vodka.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Dude, there's some guys walking by with like ram pajamas. Is that normal?
What are you guys dressed up for?
We were just at a sorority banquet.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're from New Mexico, by the way.
You
UNM.
guys are?
Low boat.
Yeah.
Go
nice.
Boats.
Are you
Go Boats.
visiting?
Yes, sir.
We were here for
Oh.
a regional conference, which was a banquet.
Yes.
Whoa.
I got an award.
Award too. Guess what I got?
Congrats.
Most
Actually, I
studious,
want you guys to
studious
guess
fool.
What are the awards like centered around?
Okay.
Kind of like
Yeah.
anything.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like academic.
Okay, so we have like member of the year.
Okay.
Okay, what do I
got it.
look like? Like, what kind of award do I look like I would have gotten?
Careful with your
You
words,
seem pretty
Bosh.
smart.
You're headed in the right direction.
Like most likely to be a doctor or lawyer or something like
Yeah.
that. Is that close?
Yes, very close, Bosh.
Go,
Thank
Bosh.
you.
Hella studious.
Oh, yeah. Congrats.
Thanks, Bosh.
Good job.
A lot of long nights in the library.
I graduated, but he's a student right now. Yeah.
What's your major?
Health and exercise science.
Ooh.
Hence the cooling down.
So that's why you guys were talking about cooling down.
Yeah.
Exercise.
That makes sense.
I
We
like
talked about
Gatorade.
abdominal work earlier.
Wait, what?
Well, because we're kind of debating on like if you could target upper, middle, and lower, or if that's kind of
Oh.
not the case.
I think you could.
I think you could
We're
too.
trying to talk. Yeah.
Explain,
Back that up.
Clarissa.
Okay, so the reason why I think that you could target it, so I've kind of tested this on myself. Ah, shit. Okay. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger said no, it was Seabum. Seabum said to work on your weakest point. My weakest point is my lower abdominal muscle. So I started working my lower abdominal muscle. Next thing you know, I'm hella snatched. So compared to doing 100 crunches, which works your upper abs, like I do have upper abs, I started working on the lower abs, and I am definitely seeing more definition in that.
Yeah, how did you work the lower abs?
I'd say like that thing where you like go on the, you like kind of hang and you like lift your legs.
Oh, toast the bar.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
it called?
Toast the bar.
The toes to bar.
Lifting
Yes.
your toes to the bar.
Yes, lifting
Yeah.
your toes to the bar. So I started doing a lot of those.
Okay.
So rather than doing 100 crunches every day, I do 100 of those.
You get more robotic with a mic in your hand too.
Thank you. This is my professional voice.
Yeah.
Yes. Hella studious.
Hella studious.
I'm taking like an ab class and I kind of learned like the science about this. So like think of like a sit up. Like when you're doing a sit up, you're like kind of using your neck to do it. And what do you work out? You're just working out this part right here. That's why crutches work better because you're actually like if you do it correctly, like you go like each spine at a time, you're gonna actually work out your whole abdominal. I learned that in class.
Interesting take.
Yeah, that's why I don't do sit-ups, do crunches if you need to, but make sure you like don't put your hands behind your back. or neck. Yeah.
Say your glute, you know, like
There's like certain like ass workouts.
Bulgarian split squats. Bulgarian split squats. But everyone, all the gym guys on TikTok like hate people who like are like, oh, you can like if you do this, like you're gonna get abs in like a month. It's just I feel like it's just like cardio. Like if you just like lower your calorie intake and then like up your like
I see what you're
working
saying.
out, like you're gonna
noticed
get
on
It'll
abs.
get you
For sure,
skinnier.
That's
so
and
your
like
muscles are more defined.
right.
yeah,
See,
exactly.
I have abs. It's just I got this little layer of fat.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Like they're
It's because you have a
definitely there.
uterus.
Mm-hmm.
But like as I'm cutting, you can definitely see it more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's definitely a balance between how much body fat you have on and how much muscle tone there is.
Right.
If you have more muscle, then it'll be easier for that to show through the
Mhm.
fat, you know.
That's true.
So that there's just a kind of a balance between those two.
You're smart.
Yeah,
That
so I
is
have,
pretty
like,
smart.
less fat like right here, so it's definitely like more defined here.
Up
than
top.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. Because mine's more like below,
Yeah.
underneath. Yeah.
For sure.
That's usually how it is for typical body physique, though, because that's where most of your fat is stored, is just
Right.
lower body.
And for women too, I hear like you have like this layer of fat.
Yeah, because we get
ovaries.
pregnant. Shit's
I don't know if
rough.
it's true or not, but like I, hear
I
that's
think
why
it's
like,
true.
harder for women to
It's true.
Like even like really skinny girls, like they're just saying they just like they have like the tiniest like little thing over like their uterus. Yeah.
Yeah, it like goes back to like back in the old days. Like imagine like guys, what would they do? They would like go hunting, and like the girls were just like meant to like.
Gathering?
It's true. Like if you think about like if you have to think of like back when like there was like cave people. I took like a good long time of nutrition classes actually. I want to be a nutritionist for a long time, but it goes back to like. No, it's true. Like it's actually like it's like in your genetics. That's why like guys can have lower body percentages because what would they do like the whole day is like they would like go hunt. Like do that stuff, a lot of demanding, and like what would like the women usually do? They were usually just like they're taking care of the kids or like just like be honest, like being pregnant with a kid.
It is,
Yeah.
right now.
Bosh.
What did you major in?
So in short, in summary, if you want abdominal muscles to show, you have to be Neanderthal.
Right now, but I really want to get back to addiction therapy.
Ooh.
I've been in 2 different programs with an outdoor aspect.
Oh.
And in the first one, we were doing a lot of like group therapy on trail and stuff like that. And then there's usually a big component with work therapy, and it's usually a male population we're working with. And so we like to move our hands, and especially when you're dealing with different traumas and therapy and stuff like that, it's easier to work through those things when you can also move your hands at the same time and kind of get that energy out, So I think that model's really good for people trying to get out of addiction.
I have a question for you, Bosh. So as a Coloradian and someone who lives here and is like very because we just got weed legalized in New Mexico, like recreationally, and you lived here for a long time. So how do you feel about the war on drugs? A. Secondly, the fentanyl epidemic that's going on. The fentanyl epidemic is hitting us hard. How do you feel?
Just got taken over.
Did you take a toothpick?
Yeah. I asked you if it was okay, and you didn't say anything. He moved them. I don't know if it was subconscious or what.
Okay, that's a big question. I think something that's very helpful is drug testing facilities. That's one thing that some other countries have in place that I think are very helpful because you can't necessarily stop 100% of everybody from taking illegal substances. But what you can do through the drug testing facilities is make sure that they have an informed decision on what drug they put in their body. And so if somebody takes it to the facility and tests it, they can see if it's actually cut with fentanyl, and if there's a particular brand label on that from wherever it came from. They even use like a advertising situation where they can get that out to people. So that's very helpful of just minimizing overdoses in general, especially if it's going to continue to be illegal. It would still give people more of an informed decision on these things. So I think that would be something very helpful for people as well. Some people would advocate for, I forget the technical name, but like drug use facilities where you can actually go and use illegal substances. But it's, if you do overdose, they have things like Narcan there, which are lifesavers like that. So there's a couple mitigation things like that that don't have to deal with the law necessarily, and so being able to know exactly what's in the substance you're taking would be a good, helpful thing, Yeah, those are 2 different ways.
And then the war on drugs.
I mean, in general, it's, I think, been a failure, I think hopefully most people are learning about that. It's a tough thing because there's a certain percentage of the population that will be addicted to these things. And so we do want to do our best to try to save people from that. But at the same time, I mean, personally, how I'm wired and how I just think things should be is mostly open to people. I think you should have the information exactly of how these things are, how they work, on your body. And, I mean, in a sense, like heroin gets a very bad rap because it's not usually deaths from heroin. It's usually deaths from fentanyl because it's cut with these things, because fentanyl is more potent and cheaper to produce, is why it's cut with that. So I guess if there was more of a regulation behind it, then it'd be a lot harder for overdoses in general, you know? Yeah.
Thank you. That was very insightful.
I have a question.
Very insightful.
I have a quick question. Okay, so I know people say that like weed isn't addictive. I honestly feel like it is. Like I feel like I know a few people who say that they're not like addicted, but you could tell that they're like use it every day, and like if you tell them like, hey, can you like cut it down, they just can't. Do you think it's addictive, or do you think it's like beneficial? Like, do you think there's more like negative or like more like benefits? Like, what do you think?
Okay, Jesse, I want some insight from you as well.
Okay? On this one?
Yes, please.
I feel like definitely, yes, it's addictive. I mean, I feel like that's more of like a mental mindset on that one, because there's nothing really in it that will technically get you addicted to it. Unlike cigarettes, like nicotine, that's a super addictive drug. But for marijuana, I feel like it's definitely more mental mindset, because if you're just doing it more and more and you're enjoying the way that it actually is having effects on your body, I feel like your body's just going to be like, okay, this is what I've been doing. I've been doing this a lot. I actually like this. Then I feel like it's just more mental, like, this is what I want to be doing more. Yeah.
Just like any other habit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everything in moderation is like, okay, I feel moderation is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tricky when you're in a very bad situation and it gives you relief in that sense, you know? And when at the same time other healthier, more mechanisms like either eating a healthier meal or going to the gym and feeling that hormonal boost would be maybe harder to do because it's not as quick, but at the same time still something that you could get habituated to that would probably level you out in that moment.
Good vocab word.
But yeah, it's more of like a habit that people form and using it, and then also a dependency, to kind of answer your question, in my opinion. I think we can be dependent on many things, you know, like it feels good to eat a couple of cookies when you get broken some bad news, you know. That's not that's still like a chemical response in your body, because your body wants sugar, because evolutionarily sugar was a hard thing and fats were a hard thing to find, and so your body wants to promote that. But now we're in a place where that's abundant, and that's why we have these kind of weight issues, you know, to get back to that. But it's more of a habituation thing and quick or short-term fixes as opposed to long-term fixes, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I can agree. I definitely love sugar. Also, do you think that weed is like a gateway drug? Like, do you think that like it kind of introduces like I'm honestly thinking of like younger like teenagers and like kids and all that. Do you think it's gonna like introduce them to like try more drugs? You know, because I kind of see it like with some people I know, like, oh, I'm just trying weed, and then like, oh, trying acid. Oh, I'm trying this. You know. So do you think that's gonna happen, or do you think it's gonna like, since now it's like legalized, and like, do you think like no, or do you think like possibly?
I think there's a certain percentage that yes, but I don't think for everybody, no. Okay. To be quick with a response.
Ooh, you seem...
I don't know. I feel like it just depends on different people, because, I mean, some people will be like, yeah, I like weed. Maybe I just want to stick with this. Maybe, like you said, maybe try acid once, and they're like, I don't like how this affected me. Then they'll just stick with weed. But other people will probably be like, all right, I've tried this, maybe I'll try acid, like, oh, maybe I like that, maybe I'll try LSD next, or whatever. So I feel like it just depends on the person, not specific to everybody.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
And as two native, I'm gonna assume Coloradians, what positive effects have you guys seen in your economy and just like in like the social aspect of legalizing weed? Because we just got it legalized, so we don't really know what to expect. So you guys have some experience, so like what should we expect?
Will I be getting like my tax money back, or like what's going on?
I think we're rolling in those tax dollars.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a big boost. I'm a little weary of the commercialization of it. I'm not against people having the ability to use it, but I'm a little weary of that. Just because then there's I don't know, there's a profit incentive behind selling it instead of people just having the opportunity to have it. So I think there's a tricky balance between there. A guy talked about that in a book I read called, what was it called? I forget. He spoke at my community college though.
Nice.
Anyways, but
Really? You had speakers
mhm.
at CMC?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's about all I got.
Jesse?
Tax money.
Good tax.
Rolling all that money.
I feel
That's
like we're
good.
getting grilled right now.
On this topic of weed, you guys want to see a funny photo I have?
Why? What's the photo? I'm scared.
Clarissa's in it. Look.
Oh, I'm
You guys-
scared. I'm scared.
Do you know which one? The one we took last weekend.
Oh.
Look at this like big bag that guy had.
She's never seen a drug dealer before.
Yeah, I never seen one. Yeah, I was really like impressed of like how that's a huge bag. I was like, what
You
is
guys are
going
so
on?
funny.
Like that's a lot.
That was like a pound of weed.
I know.
Put it away.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you
Thank
for
you
having
guys.
us.
Thank
We
you for having
appreciate
us.
it.
We appreciate it.
Wait, if you guys like make money off of this, can we get like a percentage?
Yeah, send us
since-
the link.
Yeah, like what's
Whatever.
going on?
Wherever this is going on.
Do you guys have a Spotify? Or are you just doing it for like...
It's just going on YouTube right now because it's free.
Well, what's it called?
The Bosch experience.
I have
Where's
heard
the
that.
big Bosch the Bosch? Remember?
Bosch Kosh Big.
What are you gonna call it? I don't know.
The Bosch
Is this the first episode?
This is second.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're just starting out.
You're doing great.
Wow,
Thank you.
okay.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
See, we're day ones.
Day ones. The real OGs.
Nice to meet you guys.
It was nice
Bosch
meeting you.
experience.
The Bosch experience. What should I call it?
I don't know. Let me get one of you guys on Snapchat.
Yeah,
you guys
for
on
real.
Snapchat?
Sure.
Yes.
Keep me updated.
You're dope.
What is your? Are you a cherry?
Yes, I'm a fucking
Are you a cherry?
Yes, sir. I'm a cherry.
Are you a cherry?
Clarice? Is that how you say it?
Clarissa.
Clarissa? Oh.
Clarice is just a nickname, yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Big beds. The real OGs from day one. We're gonna do episode 100 and invite you guys back.
Yeah.
Did I get that in the video?
Special
Oh yeah, the mic.
Episode 100. We're inviting the real OGs back.
Nice to
Oh my
meet you.
gosh,
Yes.
me too.
100%.
For your 100th, 102.
102. Episode 102.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
100
special.
episodes
Yes.
later.
I love it.
The reunion special. I want to be there.
Yeah. The three beans.
Three beans. Three beans.
Bye, y'all.
See you guys. Have a good
Nice to
night.
meet you guys.
Good luck with your podcast. You guys are going to do great.
Thank you. Here, and I was like, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. And we're back.
I don't know how any of this is going to show up on the recording because these are very directional, you know. But I'm all for it. That was fun,
Dude, 100%.
That's hilarious.
I just like looked over there and then she was like, "Are you doing a podcast?" I was like,
Dude,
"Yes."
Thank God you stood. Thank God you stood up, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
All right.
Apple Series 7 watch. Yeah.
All right. So this is a little thing I got.
All right.
We're going to end this out here.
Hit me on it.
What we do is every person before asks a question. Your question is from the previous person I interviewed, which is Ashlyn. She asked you. She didn't know it was you, but she asked
me. Okay.
This is the question. Ready? We had a hard time formulating the words on this, so it might not be clear.
Okay.
And I can try to help that out. If you had a superpower that matched your best skill, what would that superpower be?
That matched my best skill.
So whatever innate skill or talent you have, what superpower matches that for you?
I don't know if I could pick a specific superpower, honestly.
Do you have a skill in mind?
I
or
feel-
talent? Like that you're just kind of gifted a little bit in?
Skill or talent?
Something that like just comes innately to you.
I mean, sports.
Yeah.
I feel like that was me because I did football, basketball, track, and I feel like I was pretty good at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Super strength maybe is
So
the
then,
only
like,
thing I
super
can think of.
strength
Super
and
strength, super
speed.
speed.
What other super physical abilities?
I was thinking another one that's not technically really a skill, but I'm very timely to most things that I go to.
Ooh, so you'd have like
maybe
time
like
travel abilities?
either time travel or like teleportation, so I'm like there, if you know what I mean.
That's actually
Um,
kind of cool. I like that.
That was where my brain went to. Like that's not necessarily like a
You were late to this
skill that I
podcast,
have.
though.
I was. If you really want to know why I was late to this podcast, I will tell you if you want to know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hit it.
So me and Hutch were just chilling in the room, and then I was just laying in bed. I was scrolling through Instagram, and then you sent me a Snapchat, and I was like, oh, Bosch sent me back. And then I was watching, it was a longer video. It was on basketball, and it was on actual, like, jumping abilities, on what exercises you can do to, like, help your vertical. And I saw that on Instagram, and I was watching it. And then after that, you sent me a text, and then I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't know when we were going to do this. So I was just scrolling through Instagram more, and then you then told me you were like Darrell, and I was like, all right, I'm on the way. And then when I was leaving, I stopped at the bathroom and I took a mad shit.
That's what kept you?
And then when I was done, I got back out, and then I was like, oh shit, I forgot my phone in the room. So I had to run back to the room, grab my phone, and then I came down here. That's why I
Okay.
was late.
Okay.
So I have an excuse.
That's fine.
But
just thought
to
that was
most
funny.
things, I feel like I'm pretty timely.
Okay.
To
I
most
like that.
things.
Now you can phrase your your question
Question
for
to the next guest star.
random person.
Am I not going to be on your next episode, Bosch?
You're going to be on future ones.
Good.
But I think I'll get to somebody else before you do.
Ouch. Is this not the Jesse and Bosch experience?
No, it's not. It's not even the Bosch experience. I don't like that.
I don't like it. Oh, what's a good question? Let me think. A good question. Do I get to know the answer to this question?
I can tell you after, I guess.
Or do I just have to tune in to the next episode?
You have to tune in. Till we get
To
you.
all our viewers. What's a good question I would like to ask? Oh, big hot take. And I'll give you my answer to this.
Okay.
I've heard from a lot of people, and I get shit on this a lot.
About the milk?
No, it's not about milk. It's, kind of like milk. I think, me personally, I like ice cream, and I think it's more enjoyable in the winter than it is in the summer.
Oh, shit.
That is my question. Do you think ice cream is more enjoyable in the winter or summer?
All right. We're wrapping it up there, folks. Have a good night.